Wake up, gamers, because you're listening to Big Thing to Mention with Dan and Bob Video Games. Some might say Clive Rothfield is a gaming icon.
Is that a spoiler?
Chris Wolfhard.
I am the X-Slayer.
And Dr. Aggro.
I'm officially announcing that my next game will be just like Fable.
Here on GigaBoots.
I didn't realize we were breaking big news like that.
Oh yeah, this is a Big Thing exclusive. If I ever get around to learning how to or obtaining the means to produce or create a video game, it's going to be comparable to Fable in some legally defensible manner.
Which Fable, though?
Fuck you.
Bob, how could you ask him a statement like that? We all know Aggro has a track record of speaking sincerely with veracity and legally defensible points down the road.
And I've totally played a Fable game.
What is your favorite Fable man?
Fableman?
Yeah, your favorite Fableman.
I think I read the first volume of that comic book once.
Okay, that's a good issue. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Big Think 229. The one where I get to talk about how it's like to be inside of David Hayter's mind. But before we get to that, Bob and I need to talk about the tip of the peak of software that is all of the Switch's library. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob and I get to talk about Luigi's Mansion 3. Now, Dr. Aggro, did you know, and I did this research myself, I found this out myself, did you know that Luigi's Mansion 3 is, in fact, the best-selling horror game ever made?
I feel like I may have come across this information in the midst of a hard-hitting news section.
That's crazy.
On a completely legitimate podcast.
That is... Please don't make our tagline the completely legitimate podcast. That's... For one, at some point, we might talk about a boat, and then people get really confused as to which podcast they're listening to. Luigi's Mansion 3 is a game for the Switch, and it looks really nice, and it is really fun. And I wish Luigi's Mansion 2 didn't scare me away from buying that game at launch and playing it.
Yeah, it's kind of insane how much more complete a game this is than 1. And I never played 2.
You never played 2. Next year, Bob will be able to compare it to 2.
Right?
But for now, he's just going to compare it to the Ghostbusters game over and over. And I'm going to go, please stop doing that.
Well, they made a Ghostbusters game. What else am I going to do?
It's completely out of his hands.
He's like, look, what am I going to do? Not talk about Ghostbusters nonstop deep into my 50s? I'm like, yeah, that is on the table, just so we're clear.
That is the trajectory of our generation.
Look, they've stopped making high-budget comedy films. I have to just keep talking about the ones they made in the 80s and 90s because they won't ever make them again.
Yeah, that is really
what do you mean? What do you mean, Bob? They made a Men in Black and a Ghostbusters within the last 10 years.
Oh, thank
God. In fact, they made more than one Ghostbusters.
That Ghostbusters wasn't even supposed to be a comedy.
Yeah, that one's not even a comedy, seemingly.
Oh, no, I meant 2016.
Oh, that was 7 years ago.
There's no way that had a high budget.
Yes, it did. It had a super fucking high budget. That's why that fucking little experiment ended fast.
That's insane. Most of that movie is literally improv.
Yeah, it is just standing around a lot of
$200 million.
I mean, they have the scenes in the city streets with tons of ghosts just standing there being like, we're ghosts. And I'm like, you motherfuckers didn't write a place for them to go or a thing for them to do. So they just stood in the street and went, holy shit, ghosts.
Yep.
My understanding is that movie almost had a chance at being profitable, but the director was like, we don't need those scenes. And then they went, oh, fuck, we need those scenes. We now have to go back and shoot more. And now the movie costs $40 million more than possible.
Yeah, the movie definitely felt like that watching it. It doesn't feel like it fits with the rest of it. It's a really bizarre creature. But, you know, if I were a wise man like James Rolfe, I wouldn't have even watched the fucking thing in the first place. So that way, when people bring it up, I can disassociate and just pretend I have no idea what's up there.
That's a really strong reason to not engage with something. It's like, if I watch this, like it or not, I'll have to talk about it ever again, and I don't want to do that, so I'm just gonna pretend it's not real forever.
TikTok, it's never Toku o'clock. The new segment on Big Thing Dimension. I genuinely just don't even have words for how good Luigi's Mansion 3 was, but I'm going to go ahead and go.
That's not optimal for podcast coverage.
Right. So I'm just going to have to dissect some things about it real quick and dish out some info that'll help you visualize it in your own brains. So Luigi's Mansion 3 takes place in a super mega hotel that's owned by the dead. And they literally lured his ass there to trap him as a trophy for King Boo.
Like a dead guy, or do all of the dead own it in commune?
They don't own it in commune. It's a rich bitch. She dead. But she wants to capture Mario and Peach and the Toads, 3 of them, and Luigi to be like, here you go, King Boo. Have this. Isn't this great? I'm so glad that we're bestest buds. You're the best. Because she's like a fangirl. Basically, is the situation. Every floor.
Like,
go ahead.
Aggro. Imagine Faulty Towers, but all the residents were ghosts.
Yeah. So every floor of this fucking hotel is a different theme entirely, which is crazy because you get to the point where it's like, how the fuck is this a floor on a hotel? It is a giant desert with a pyramid in the middle.
Are there beds?
No.
Fuck.
Bob, do you remember seeing, I guess, the first floor? I think the first floor you go to.
The first 2 floors are like,
yeah.
this is just a hotel.
I was going to say, like that.
Then you go above
Then
that
you
and it becomes a theme
backslide.
park.
Okay, yeah. So this is a hotel resort.
Yeah, it's like a Vegas
I was
thing.
going to say, like, if every floor is themed, that's just like a love hotel thing.
Kind of.
But
they cease to be hotel rooms at all. It is literally theme parks instead.
yeah, like this is an attraction with attached hotel.
But it just looks like the Overlook Hotel. But then, in fact, inside it is a vast desert and all this stuff. It's really cool. There are a lot of really neat mechanics. You remember in God of War 2018 when Kratos walks through the snow? It leaves a really cool path where his feet went and all this cool breaking. So they did that with the desert in Luigi's Mansion 3 on the Switch, and I'm like, these people are fucking wizards.
And you can also vacuum up the sand and blow it back or blow it around.
Yeah, you make piles of the stuff to reach areas inside.
Like at some point, it's going to come out that Nintendo's like, oh yeah, we invented this chip that just solved physics in video games, and we put it in the Switch. Did nobody else do that? We thought that was normal.
In our infinite cruelty, we told no third-party devs.
Right. I keep flashing back to Journey when that was coming out. They had like some guys from Naughty Dog come over and like tour the studio. It was a big press event. Like, look, our devs are meeting and being friends. And they're like, oh man, we really love like what you've done with sand physics, or how did you do that? And they're like, oh, we dedicated an entire SKU just to the sand.
SPU.
At SPU.
Don't worry about it.
And the guys from Naughty Dog were like, oh, we can't do that in our game.
Right, yeah, no, that is not practical.
Right.
Fucking Uncharted 3.
It also does this thing where it locks the camera down and then it's just able to make it look gorgeous from that one angle.
Yeah,
Oh, really? It has a fixed camera angle?
Man, it's like that really keeps paying off for us
It
week
does.
after week. That statement we made of maybe you should lock the camera angle down and make something extraordinarily gorgeous.
Yeah, it looks so
Man,
good.
man, I mean, Luigi's Mansion looks so great. You wouldn't think that 250 people made it.
Yeah, you wouldn't think. Oh God, yeah. So about how everyone is fucked the moment the Switch 2 comes out and we see what a Nintendo game looks like.
Rude. Like every one of Nintendo's games is one of the most profitable games ever made. Meanwhile, everybody else is like coughing and hacking if they only sell 8 million copies.
We're gonna see a Xenoblade, and all of us are just gonna have to sit. You get that right? Like, let me. Holy shit!
My greatest hope is that Nintendo somehow solves loading.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's like, we're targeting the Switch too. Fuck this next gen visual shit. That costs a lot of money you can get a higher frame rate and resolution on those bigger boxes, but we're targeting this Switch too.
And that'll be great for me because while, some of the I like to think of myself as a very Digital Foundry core person, but there's the extreme other end of that fan base where it's like, why isn't this ray traced? I want to feel the next gen. Meanwhile, I'll just feel like a Chad God King as the PS5 version of every game is just 4K and runs well.
Right, like this sounds like the mechanics of the industry actually fulfilling the prophecy from 7th gen, where we started going, you can stop. Like we hit
promise.
Like it doesn't need to be prettier.
No, like you look at upgrades Final Fantasy 13, it looks better than 15.
Yeah. 16 or 15?
16 and 15.
I mean, yes. Yes. 13's gorgeous, especially in 4K. If you've seen 13 in 4K, you know. Fucking nuts. What a gorgeous video game. I told Bob I was really sad that we slept on the opportunity to stream Final Fantasy 13 years after launch. If we could go back in time only 4 months, we could do it.
I mean, I think that it's covered under the clause. We're still in the 13th year. It's fine.
So you're saying we have 9 more months?
Yes.
Did I do that right?
Probably not.
Let me know in the comments. Can you math?
Look, it's the 13th month of the 13th year.
Oh my god, that reminded me of that thing you found out about that podcast in editing. We're not going to say what you found out. They don't even know. That's the funniest shit in the world. I love that. And this shit's so out ahead, they won't even know. Or will you? Sound off in the comments in the future. Anyway. Luigi's Mansion 3 has a lot of really neat mechanics, a lot of good level designs, a lot of really great characters. It's so good. I wish so much that 2 hadn't scared me away from it. If only they didn't make a Luigi's Mansion 2. Because 3's so good.
I mean, I guess that was the first one they made, like that team. So I guess they need the stepping block.
I mean, sure, but that doesn't. They kind of salted the fucking earth for people who played it and decided it was decidedly not good enough to buy the next one at 60.
Luckily, it was on the 3DS, so that wasn't that many people.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't a ton, but it was still a lot. Like Chris, I think, brought up it was 8 million or something.
Oh yeah,
insane.
it did sell insanely well for a 3DS game.
Yeah, it was up there. People love Luigi's Mansion.
It's in the top 20, I think.
Which is pretty impressive.
Yeah,
you don't think of a Luigi's Mansion
it's number
game.
12.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay, and like we're still going to make Luigi's Mansion games. A bad 2 didn't murder the whole franchise.
Right.
Unlike Resistance.
1 second, I have a button for this. Okay.
That just reminds me of that video Sakurai put up this week about Kid Icarus Uprising, where he's like, "Yeah, it'd be cool if I could play this on big screen, but you know, they don't want me to remake it."
I sure hope that happens.
I really liked the part this week where he's like, "We couldn't integrate the Circle Pad Pro because it takes 5% of the CPU," and the entire internet went, "What?" And I'm like, motherfuckers, he said this 10 years ago. Turns out,
did he?
Yeah, no, that was public knowledge long before that YouTube video was made. Here's why, because a lot of people might be really confused by that. The Circle Pad Pro doesn't plug into anything. It is just an IR port that covers the IR receiver. So the 5% of CPU is a Nintendo library for reading that at a polling rate of a proper button and shit.
Now, if only when the new 3DS came out, they were able to do a patch that optimized for that.
Why would you patch a video game?
I don't know.
Signed, Nintendo.
Yeah, I knew that Smash on 3DS like shut down the 3DS OS and booted a more lightweight version of the 3DS OS because it needed that extra juice. But I did not know the thing about the Circle Pad Pro.
Yeah, the Circle Pad Pro is a nightmare, and I will continue to be mad at the design of the 3DS, apparently forever. I thought this would end at some point, but it didn't.
Yeah, not counting the 3DS, not counting the Virtua Boy. The 3DS just seems like, on a tech level, just objectively Nintendo's worst thing.
Yes.
Like, all their worst ideas compacted in... Well, I've heard also the Wii U, but they were of the same era. Like, the same mindset led to both.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was just considering like portables, and I'm like, yeah, the only way you can make the argument that it isn't is if you're the fucking Grinch and you're like, why is this Game Boy Micro so micro? And I'm like, because that's the point, asshole. The point is I can fit a Game Boy in the fold in my beanie, and that's life changing.
Mm-hmm.
That it shouldn't be somewhere you could fit a portable. Bob, did you have anything else you wanted to say about Luigi's Mansion 3 other than it's good? It's really good. It's so good. It has memorable music. It has great visuals. It has a lot of variety in level design and puzzles.
I think that's it. The pirate ship was really cool.
Oh, it's so cool.
That a shark ghost takes over a pirate ship and it becomes a boss. It's like, this is so good. How did you come up with this?
It's so awesome.
Yeah, no, every floor has a really delightful new thing. There's a floor that's a movie set, and the director isn't evil. He's not malicious or anything. And you just have to solve the puzzles that is this entire movie set. And it doesn't direct you heavily. It's just 4 different sets. And you have to piece together what you do from that. There's no direction. There's no hand-holding. It's pretty cool. So I solved the whole thing. The boss battle is like a kaiju thing that he's filming you do with a different ghost. And when it ends, he's like, cool, I'm going to edit this movie. You could just leave. I murdered his ass, though. He's a fucking ghost.
No.
He's a fucking ghost.
I love the movie Ghost. Just something about how he looks.
Yeah.
He's so spectacular.
They fucking nailed it. They really did. Next Level is really on the next level.
Also, the 2-player mechanics were really good. Like, you didn't have to use them, but they really smoothly integrated when we did. Because you can make Luigi at any point, and player 2 is just Luigi.
Yeah.
And a lot of puzzles are just switching between you and him, so you can just both work together and finish the puzzle a little faster.
The moment I found out how Luigi worked, like in a single player capacity, I was like, oh my god, they're so fucking smart. They took the core game that was already there and found a way to build new puzzles out of it without radically changing the gameplay. Because you know how many people fuck that up? They're like, we need a sequel, we need a new thing. Mario has a jetpack nozzle.
Yeah.
They took the skill set Luigi already had and just found a way to make that into more puzzles by it being 2 people you manipulate. That's so good. They're so smart. What a good fucking game.
Does Mario still have fucking FLUDD in Smash? Did they finally get rid of that?
No.
That's embarrassing. They should really get rid of that.
Look, everyone but me loves FLUDD is something people keep saying to me.
That feels like
I don't think that's
wrong.
fucking true.
Yeah, it was like, I don't think that's actually right. I think it's just a few people, really loud people. Especially now that Cappy exists. Who doesn't like Cappy more than FLUDD?
Do you like Cappy more or less than FLUDD? Sound off in the comment section below. Write your senator. But yeah, that's it. I really strong recommendation for Luigi's Mansion 3. That was a stellar video game that would have made my game of the year list.
Yeah.
Easily.
Peach and Mario really jobbed during it. It's kind of funny.
Well, that's the thing. You made Luigi the main character, so you need to make them fold like foldable chairs.
Right? At some point, it's like, why are you even here? It feels wrong.
You say that, but there is one moment that really plays to Mario sure as fucking Mario. Where you finally rescue Mario and you're on your way to save Peach and stuff. And you go outside the hotel and you can see the top of this building. And Mario's like, it's right here. Let's go. Wahoo. And he just goes bing, 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 bing. It does like Mario 64 wall jumps the whole way up. And Luigi's just like,
got a whole ass vacuum cleaner strapped to me, man.
Yeah, Bob, the entire playthrough's like, that thing must be like 200 pounds.
My backpack doesn't fly, you bitch.
Yeah, he can't jump while wearing it. He has to do like a weird burst to get off the ground. So that thing must just be like 300 pounds.
Yeah, no, it must be unfucking reasonable. But that was a really good moment. That game is full of really good moments. What a good fucking game.
Yeah.
Bob, did you have anything else you wanted to say? Okay.
Not really. Yeah, it's a great game. Everyone should play it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to talk to you about our Lord and Savior. VR games. Hey guys, I've been playing VR games again.
Oh.
Because I beat Final Fantasy 16 by sitting down to play it for 16 hours straight.
That would do it.
Yeah, it solves that problem. I have not beaten this game. Problem solved. I have beaten this game. But I played Synapse. For people who don't remember, during a state of play much earlier in the year, they were like, Synapse, it has VR, beach, black and white, and then nothing. Then we get to the summer of gaming, and they're like, David Hayter's the voice. You are invading his mind. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll buy that. Yes, that's perfect. Great. Synapse is a game where your left hand uses telekinetic powers, and your right hand holds various guns. It is a roguelike shooter where you invade David Hayter's mind to get secrets that he has taken from the military back from his mind.
Holy shit.
It is pretty good. The game is relatively short, and the level layouts change per difficulty, but do not change radically per run. It is largely the same, only mildly reoriented per run. But this game has a lot of different abilities. Like, you'll start and there are just cubes around the weird monochromatic beach that is David Hayter's mind. And you can just crush enemies with that like it's a hammer in Star Wars.
Nice.
You get skill trees to unlock different abilities for either your weapon stuff, health, or telekinesis. And you will get to the point where it's like, okay, you can grab a grenade they're throwing at you in midair, bring it to them, and crush it to make it explode. And you feel the point where it pops on the trigger. You level up even further from there, and it's like you can now grab enemies. So you can just go fucking throw them into the ocean and not even shoot them or deal with any of that. You can slam them into the ground, and if the force is hard enough, that will kill them. You can beat the other guy to death with the guy you picked up.
That's it. Game of the year.
It is delightful. It is really interesting. The way you get those skills on the skill trees is that you skills and upgrades, I guess, generalizing, accomplish different things, sort of like achievements or challenges, where it's like, okay, kill a certain amount of enemies this way, make it this far, kill this many total,
Nice.
do this, do that, blah blah blah. And then that'll give you a different amount of points depending on the depth of that or the difficulty of it. And there are just tons. This is not a game where it's like, you need to 100% this to 100% the skill tree. Like, you can do most of it, almost all of it, and just clear that and then some. Really cool game. Per level, there are... let me make sure I say this correctly. Yes, there are 3 different sort of artifacts you will find. A fountain that heals you, which is full of the Grimace Shake for some reason. Interesting timing, video game. Another one where you spend what is currency that is a mid-run currency called Defiance, where you get Defiance by murdering enemies and then running over their corpse before it withers away.
Nice.
And it looks like beautiful purple paper cranes that have been left on the bodies. And you can buy different sort of in-run upgrades. You know, it's a roguelike. So it'll be something like, for the Defiance currency statues, shops, basically, you get the same 2 at the bottom, which are get 25 health, refill your ammo, or the third thing, which will be a randomly rolled third thing. These can get pretty interesting because, unlike Pistol Whip, the default for this video game, and in fact, technically the only way it works, is there is no aim assist. You better know how to aim a gun. Fun fact, despite all the time in Pistol Whip, no, I am terrible at aiming a gun. I am fucking awful.
Do they have like a model with like proper iron sights on it?
No.
Oh.
But one of those things that will show up in that third slot is bullets curve towards the enemy. So at a certain point, you're now, instead of aiming at the body, you're aiming around the head because it will curve at the last second the bullet into their head. This also affects grenade launcher.
Nice.
So I'll do a thing like launch it pretty parallel to the ground, and if it senses the enemy is there, it will just scoop back up and fly into his abdomen.
I really thought you were about to say you can buy a power-up that turns eye tracking on.
No, actually, the eye tracking in this is used for the telekinesis. You can set it either to aim your hand at a thing to grab it or aim your eyes at the thing to grab it. So you can be shooting over here, glance over there, grab that, rip it off. They have some pretty interesting designs here too. They have 4 enemy types basically. So you have your standard soldier guy. Nothing to talk about there. They constantly scream, "We are Legion," and get rid of the unpure one. And a lot of fucking hilarious lines to hear 7,000 times. But then you get to the point where it's like almost a Goliath. It's like a big golem type dude with body armor you have to wrench from his body to make his weak spot hittable at all. Then they have, and I am not exaggerating in the least, decoy octopus, but flies. And I'm like, yeah, of course these people hired David Hayter and Jennifer Hale to voice characters in this game.
I'm just imagining the DARPA chief floating in.
It is really great. How much that is so direct. Yeah, and then there's the last type, which is really scary and doesn't have any interesting descriptors other than it screams. When it runs, it makes unbelievably loud stepping sounds, and it will blow up the second it sees you by locking eyes with you, doing this for 1 second and exploding in a giant radius. Those things let out this horrible yell. It is awful.
Dope.
This game is really cool. The warnings I have to give about this game. This game is like, in a way that, like, it challenged me in a way no other VR game has, because it is a lot to keep up with. It is a challenging roguelike shooter. There are a lot of things going on, and to do this in VR on all these different enemy types coming at you.
It's a whole new arena of awareness to keep track of that many things.
Right.
Like, if you put what you're describing on a screen, it's a video game. You've played a video game.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, no,
And
when you're in it.
Yeah, it's a freely explored environment, not like a rail shooter or something
Right.
like in some stuff.
Right, and unlike with Star Wars, where you have the ability to do teleport movement, in this you just move by pushing the stick and running and whatever. So there was no get out of jail free card by teleporting using Sonito.
Yes.
1,700 feet away and being like, oh, thank God that stormtrooper almost got me.
Personally, I prefer here in Kyaku.
You know, I hear only pretentious schmucks use that.
And
So that's my warning on that. The other warning, this is not a long game. I platinumed it. And it only took me about 7 to 9 hours to do that. Now, am I skilled at the game? I guess relative to the average person, yes, because I've spent a terminally ill amount of time in VR where I'm going to be the first person to contract an illness based on being in VR too much. That is how that's starting to feel. So yeah, if you're not as oriented to VR, it could take longer. If you're not as much of a crack fiend or you spec out incorrectly, it may take longer. But yeah, it was a really delightful time, like really, really good. And I'm looking forward to doing another run someday. I'm going to get in very mild spoilers for Synapse, but I'm going to play the music anyways, because you know what? I like the song. And if you don't, maybe you should play more Dragon Quest, get Dragon Quest pilled. The game basically has 3 different difficulties, and it does that thing games with no money do, where it's like, oh, you beat the game, but to really beat the game and get the story. But then to really beat the game and get the story. So kind of modern age indie Ghosts and Goblins in that sense, a little bit. Okay. Anyway, that was the mildest spoiler. Do not come to this thing for the plot. Do not come in expecting any money spent on the storytelling. There is none. They paid David Hayter and Jennifer Hale to talk into a microphone. And that's what you're going to get. And you're not going to get an unbelievable amount of that. You're going to get exactly enough to get you by. The plot of this is best described as, Imagine every schlocky action spy movie from like the 90s thrown into an AI generator and then coming out of David Hayter's mouth, where he's just like, I went to get this for the Foundation, and then the Foundation turned on me, and then I turned on them, and I turned on this country too, and then they betrayed me, and they betrayed you, but we betrayed us.
Like you were talking about that one collectible being purple origami cranes you get from corpses, and I'm like, did the government hire the origami killer to reverse Inception a guy? Because I'll play that.
You're not too far off, but it's pretty funny.
But you know, it's the origami killer.
Yeah,
we've been over
origami.
this.
At first, you are going through levels, and David Hayter's just like, you aren't ready for my mind. You will have to fight the legions of people I've murdered here, manifest in my brain. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? This is cool. David Hayter, just keep talking. I'll be happy. Which is why I find it insane. They don't play a single voice clip from David Hayter in the most recent trailer. Like, what the fuck? This is why I bought the game.
Right.
But I thought it was fun. Maybe you will too. Man, I can't aim. It was bad enough when I turned on, because Pistol Whip has a mode called Legacy, like Legacy Pro or something, where it turns off all aim assist. And there's a trophy that's like, beat A level on hard mode. I'm like, I got this. Yeah, I tried 5 times and I couldn't beat A level on hard mode without the aim assist. I'm like, well, everyone, you're safe. I won't be shooting anyone. As it turns out, I can load 7 bullets and somehow miss a man who's not moving at all every time. So, you know, a little bit of Synapse is me grabbing someone as a telekinesis, bringing them really close to going bang at point blank.
I mean, that's the point.
Right.
Like, why would you? That's frame 1. That is what you want to do.
Right, yeah. And that's the great thing. They understand that. The skills are around that, and it's very smart. Also, there's a grenade launcher, so maybe grab the decoy octopuses that are in midair, slam to the ground, and just immediately launch a grenade into them. Very good. Very good.
I really hope that you're not the first person who just like, yeah, it turns out if you're in VR too much, it destroys your sense of balance forever.
Right? Like, that's what I was thinking.
We need to really hope that there isn't like the Dan effect in medical textbooks like 3 years from now.
Because we will have to rename the podcast that.
Am I wearing the headset in the thumbnail, like the iconography?
You'll have to wear like a medical headset for the rest of your life to trick your brain to thinking you're in VR so your balance comes back.
You just always have pass-through turned on.
Oh my god. That's so terrible. I thought about actually doing an episode of Big Thing with the pass-through turned on because I'm like, yeah, that'd be funny.
It's like fucking Geordie LaForge, but instead of helping Dan because he's blind, it's like, yeah, he fried his own brain with VR gaming.
Danny Mnemonic.
It's like a metaphor for him needing to have a layer of separation between him and other people because the closer we grow, the more we hurt each other, right? Like, no, my brain's fucked up. like I fucked up my brain.
Like emotionally?
No, like the motor neuron part, that how your eyes work, it don't work good. Also some mild aphasia, apparently.
This is just gonna fit in here because it does. You hear about how Apple is like, we are reducing how many of these headsets we're making.
No, that's hilarious.
Now, the funny thing is, it sounds like they're not even doing it because of a lack of demand. They're doing it because Sony won't give them enough OLED screens for their headset.
All right.
Presumably because Sony's own VR headset needs those screens.
Holy shit.
Sony accidentally saving them.
I know, right? Oh, man. Hey, guys. I just want to say for a moment, thank you for supporting the channel and letting me have a lifestyle where I can even own a fucking PlayStation VR 2.
Mm-hmm.
That shit's amazing. That is fucking...
Yeah.
I want to say life-changing. That sounds like I'm overselling it, but no, it really is like the N64 era of 3D gaming again, where it's just like, yo, but I can move there. like it feels like the how that felt at the time And when the N64 is coming out, it's like, no, you don't understand. And this Pilot Wings, you go over the mountain. And that's like a thing. That's kind of how VR feels. Anyway, somebody should make a Pilot Wings for PlayStation VR. I'm to understand there is some sort of biplane or plane-based VR game on PC.
Okay.
So whenever I break and get MetaQuest 2, so that way I can play PC VR on the cheap, I'll go check that out. I don't know what the name of that is, but maybe someone does. But that's it for my VR segment. I don't think I played anything else because, once again, I beat Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, it takes a long time.
Yeah, it was like,
I also did that.
It says I spent 49 hours in there, and though that's wrong because the game, there are many times in the game my brain just went, hey, we should check Twitter.
Yeah, that's also the problem with trying to gauge how long I've played anything. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll get up and I'll pause it to make dinner or whatever.
This is the worst it's been for me in any video game ever, I think, where I'll just hit a thing where my brain goes, I'm not interested, let's check Twitter, and then I realize 30 minutes later that the game's dialogue ended and I've just been on Twitter and I'm like, oh shit. Fuck. God damn.
Good thing it has that active lore guide thing.
You know, part of me early on was like, I'm glad this is here. I don't need it yet, but I feel like any moment now it's going to come for me. And then it did, like, the longer the game went on, the more it was, like, completely not going to help. Because at no point they were like, these guys, you remember them, right? I mentioned them 30 hours ago. Which I thought maybe, given the tone of the game and the fact they built that system, and I was like, anytime now it's going to be like, it's them.
The only time I used it, the first time it cut to like the king of San Baroque, I clicked the button. It was like, tell me who he is. And it told me that. I was like, well, yeah, it's going to tell me that in a few seconds. But
Yeah. Actually, I did that same thing where I'm just like, who?
Yeah, I figure it was more for early game when they just start listing shit without writing sentences to tell you what it is.
Right.
Like, the fuck is a Walood? I don't know. Pull the thing up.
Right, yeah, the Walood was the first. I'm like, is that like an adjective or a proper noun?
That sounds like some Final Fantasy shit. I am one of the Walood.
Oh shit, he's gone Walood. That means his premise is completed. He will become a crystalline entity now.
No, you're thinking of the Pulse Walood. It's a totally different thing.
You're thinking of the Grand Flood.
they used Anon once.
Yeah,
I had to look it up on online. It was like, oh, it's British terminology for join you soon or something like that.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yeah. He thought it was anonymous. He's like, I will join you anonymously.
I got used to like all the weird British terminology because I played Final Fantasy 14 and they talk like that in that game.
It was
Which I thought I'd be more used to it. I played all the way through Xenoblade 3, but that's...
Oh, no, they go real hard in Final Fantasy 14 and this one, where they like... The big one is like using pray instead of want.
Yeah.
Or not want, but I forget. They use pray in like a very specific way.
Okay.
That I've never heard any other game do. Yeah, like pray tell, but they use it more than just that.
Bob's like, I beat Xenoblade. I know every British word.
They used it instead of please, but constantly in a way that most people don't. So it fucking threw me off the first time I played 14.
I don't really have anything to say about 16, but what we've been playing. FF16. I figured someone in this room might want to say something. I want to have a whole fucking ass conversation about Final Fantasy 16, but that is not today.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I guess I could say my general impression since I beat it, my very vague ones, without talking about the story or anything.
Feel free.
I liked it. I was frustrated by it, not just because of the game itself, but I was frustrated with AAA gaming. Like there's things in this game that I would want that are not in this game explicitly because they are too expensive to put in a modern AAA game. And realizing that sucked. Because if Final Fantasy can't get the money to do it, nobody can. I don't really like neutral on the setting and tone. I don't really care for them. Like the choices they made with the aesthetics of the game and the setting and the low fantasy setting and all that, I'm not a big fan of.
Yeah, I agree. I think aesthetically it kind of does the least for me of any Final Fantasy.
Yeah, that's how I feel, where it's like, yeah, I've seen this so much in the past decade. This has been the default fantasy setting since Game of Thrones got popular as a show.
But yeah, like when I went back and looked at Final Fantasy 12, or at least the PS4 port of Final Fantasy 12, I'm like, I don't know,
Yeah,
this
it's way
knight
more,
armor
like-
looks cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's way more like 12 and 14 are much more high fantasy than this. Like you even go to the dirt run downtowns and they're more fantasy aesthetic and oriented than 16 is. I also think the cast is just one of the weaker casts in Final Fantasy.
I also agree with that. I think for me, actually, that is up there with one of my larger problems with the game. I do think the cast compares very poorly against a lot of the other really memorable and
honestly,
likable
like,
casts.
A big part of the reason I played through Final Fantasy 14 was part of it was I want to see like they're positioning this next expansion as the end of the first big chunk. Like everything up to this was the end of the first big storyline.
I thought that was
So
the
I wanted
thing
to
we
see
just
that.
finished. Right? Like
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what
okay.
I mean. I mean,
Okay.
they were framing it like the next thing is the big thing, so I need to get caught up. But also I wanted to play it because Yoshi P was directing Final Fantasy 16. And
Producing.
that kind like isn't he also the director?
No.
He's not?
No, he's a producer. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, let me check. I gotta check right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, he's not one of the. Okay, he's just the producer.
Yep.
Well, his involvement was why I played
Right.
Final Fantasy 14. I'm
And
like,
that's-
yeah, that doesn't have any of the problems I have with this game, and it also has possibly my favorite Final Fantasy cast period. So it was like it had these problems when 14 had like the opposite. It's their strengths. So it was this bizarre whiplash.
Wow.
Yeah, this did do a lot to scare me away from ever playing 14.
Oh, don't worry. Like not at all.
Don't worry, you'll never have time for it.
Fair.
Yeah, won that.
Sawed off
there's
shotgun
also-
to the chest.
and there's also just the element of I think the side quests make this game worse. Not even because they're bad. Not even because they're bad. That's not even what I'm talking about. I
Okay.
did every single one. It just produces this. It is the dichotomy between the extremely high fidelity, high budget, high presentation value main story
Mm-hmm.
and the absolute no money side quests. It produced this up and down effect as I played through the game where like it was starting to fuck with me mentally.
I mean,
Where it was like, I really like this game. Oh, I don't like this game. Oh, I really like this game. Oh, I don't like this game. Because it's that severe and they keep stacking more of them onto you as you get further in the game. And I'm like, guys, these aren't good enough for there to be so many.
yeah, it really is. This game really is an oil and water game.
Mhm.
Like you're either playing the high budget, actiony, very linear stuff, or you're doing side quest stuff that is person talks to you, you walk 15 feet away, you pick up the 3 piles of dirt they told you they would never find, and then you bring it back to them and they're like, oh, I got so much dirt for my baby. Here, have a good boy badge.
I literally
Yeah,
just did my first badge of like, here's the list of all the available side quests, and you can warp to them. Like I just cleared those out. And the whole time I'm thinking, man, if this shit didn't load areas instantly, I would hate this.
Right, yeah. Which, thank fucking Christ, it's not 8th gen load times of a minute and a half.
Right.
I wouldn't have beaten it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it just
Oh
that,
shit! 1 second. I forgot. I need to hit
Game
the.
code provided by Square Enix.
There we go. We're covered because Bob and I got a game code from Square Enix, and they will kick down this door if I don't push that button. Sorry, Chris. Go ahead.
But yeah, like it just like, and there is some interesting stuff in those side quests. I did learn the answer to questions I had in some of them.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's why I want to, like you did. I'm on track to do all of them because I keep learning shit about the setting and how the world works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did all of them up until basically before the final mission. They're like, here's another 20. And I'm like, no.
Yeah,
No.
I understand.
Wrong. And then you stick its
understand.
nose in it so that
I
way it learns.
understand.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
fucking get it.
Yeah, that's what I did too. Like, I did
I did
all
a
of
couple
them
of those in that
until...
last set, and I was like, oh, this is bad.
Here's the thing. Sometimes I learn something really interesting about the world. Like, and this is a tiny lore thing. This is not what I would consider spoilers. You do a quest for a guy, and eventually he's like, yeah, as a part of, like, if you were a taxpayer back in the day, you would get a crystal. Like, he explains, like, yeah, no, that was just a thing, and now they're so stingy with them, no one gets any. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, that's interesting. And there was Agro, you passed the time skip?
Nope. Wait. There are 2 in this game.
Right.
Yeah, because everybody else is beaten it. Agro, what's the last boss you beat?
I just did the Ifrit section. I'm on my way to the first Mother Crystal, I assume.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, there's a side quest that explains things about the brand that they get, that the branded get, the
Yeah.
bearers get. And I'm like, oh, I didn't understand how that worked in this context, and this side quest explained to me how that works.
Yeah,
And that's
like
really cool. But
There's sometimes when they explain parts of that, and I'm like, well, you made that stupider. Okay.
the problem is, it isn't like I said, it's not the content of these side quests. It's it's like, imagine you have a choice between 2 buffets. And this is going to use a food metaphor, which I normally shun, but I feel like in this case it's appropriate.
I mean, he's speaking to 3 Americans. It only makes sense, right?
Explaining things to an American, here's a burger.
Yeah.
Now, let's say, okay, this buffet you can stay in for 24 hours, and it has all the most immaculate dishes you've ever seen. It's unbelievable. Now, this buffet you can stay in for 48 hours. But 20 of those hours, you can only eat oatmeal. Like, that's what I feel like I accidentally signed up for by doing all the side quests.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of my problems with the way they present side quests is the way that you actually talk to people in the environment, and then every sentence has a huge delay before they keep talking. So it makes the pacing just die.
Yeah.
As
You
soon
can
as-
hit X, though, the moment
You
they
can,
finish the last
but then
syllable.
you need to be,
so
like, on
You have
top
to
of
be
it,
ever vigilant.
Which oftentimes let me just skipping too much.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's fair.
I just read the words and then skipped it because I'm like, if I don't have to fucking listen to you talk, I'm not gonna. I have shit to do.
I actually did this really cool trick. It's called just letting the game play the vocals, like the vocal track at its own fucking pace, and then eventually I zone out and check Twitter.
Right. Like, that's the other option of, like,
This wasn't an intentional decision. I just noticed I did that a lot in this game, and I'm like, I didn't do that for Xenoblade. Xenoblade is nearly twice as long.
And I need to add, like, this isn't a problem exclusive to 16. 15 and 7 Remake both kind of had terrible side quests. I don't think Final Fantasy needs these MMO style side quests. I think we need to stick to like 7, 8, 9, 10, where there's side stuff you can do, but it's not like you go to the quest giver and get the task that you can complete within these narrow windows.
It being that specifically MMO-y was weird to the point where I'm doing them all because it tricked my brain, and I'm like, if I don't do all of the side quests in this one area, then I won't be leveled enough for the next zone.
right.
I was gonna say 7 Remake has side quests, but it doesn't. They are nowhere near MMO tier like this.
Yeah, there's a lot few. Like these are MMOE because a big part of the team was from 14.
Right, yeah. I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of people privately and on Discords about this game, and a lot of the information I am getting from them is like, yeah, this game, whole cloth motherfucking side quests, like 14. I'm like, that's a fucking weird decision to make about an action RPG. Like,
Yeah, it really feels like there was the team that made the game and the team that made the filler.
yeah, it's even
Yeah,
weirder
that
because
is kind of how it feels.
Yeah, because it's even weirder because you think, okay, my brain assumes these teams made these halves. Great. And then you start hitting stuff in the action part that you go, no, Platinum made that.
and then the rest of the action team made the rest of the game. Because there's just shit that happens that practically has a giant Platinum Games made this stamp on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
I did see one other person compare those moments to Ashura's Wrath out in the wild, and I'm like, that's so fucking funny.
There are some fucking Ashura's Wrath ass moments in this game.
Yeah. Which I know, Bob, you were saying something about whole cloth from Bayonetta. Was it 2 or 1?
There are various scenes that are just remade from 1 and 2. And then even like major boss battles are literally lifted from Bayonetta. Like the way the combat works entirely. It's like, okay.
Yeah, no, that's unreal.
Yeah,
like,
but
because in my brain,
they're made with like millions of more dollars, but the pacing is way worse because they're missing something.
Some sort of
like a director who knows what they're doing.
But yeah, I just, until I hit that moment, I assumed that like the core action gameplay was like the Platinum Games domain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I hit that and I was like, no, they just made the vertical slice it boots into it.
Right?
That's
Yeah,
fucking unreal.
there's a couple icon segments that are like, yeah, Platinum fucking made this. Okay. On the side content thing, I will say I liked all the hunts. I did every one of those. I don't regret doing those. Those are all a lot of fun. They're like a lot of them are like upgrades of the boss fights that you do against things.
Mm-hmm. Those are kind of the highlight of the game outside of the hyper linear, almost Naughty Dog like action levels, where it's just like money, money, money. You're going down a hallway.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think the hunts are the highlight outside of those.
Yeah, I also ended up doing all the hunts.
Hey, Square Enix, you just, by the way, this is in news. They patched the game today that you can turn off the fucking motion blur. Thank God. Now maybe people can see some of the fucking art in that game. I might actually go replay parts of it with the motion blur off so I can see what is fucking happening better.
Yeah, it would be really nice if, now that they fixed that, if they could miraculously find a better temporal AA solution than FSR2, because, man, I'm so sick of FSR2. That shit looks like ass. That shit looks like ass. Thank you, AMD. You engineered a solution just good enough to ruin these video games.
But they need to patch in a thing where if you're doing a hunt, there's an invisible wall locking you into the arena. Because more than once, just naturally fighting this boss, one of those bosses, it goes, you stepped 1 foot outside the arena, the boss will now run back to where it sits and respawn all its health. You can't do anything about that.
Yeah, I've had that happen with larger enemies in the open world, and it's bullshit.
Yeah, it's
it
super
charged
weird
outside of its range.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
What?
I've seen that happen too.
Yeah.
Like I've also just been running by something like on a chocobo, and then they'll attack me. I'll get off the bird to fight it, and then they run away and have all their health back. I'm like, what was this?
That was an MMO thing.
Yeah. It's speaking of, like, if you're gonna fucking make an MMO, go all the way. You know the village of Lostwing, and how that town is a morass of twisting narrow passages.
It really
and
is.
long dead ends.
Yes.
Oh god,
Yeah,
that
I always
town.
fucking
Yeah.
hated going back.
Map.
Yeah, the decision to not have a mini map was weird because there were multiple times I ended up going backwards in one of the linear action levels because I'm like, I just did a fight. Both exits to this room look basically the same.
Yeah.
Of course, you do. Of course, at least in there, you can hold the toggle, point your nose at which fucking way to go button.
And some of the times
But
it works, yeah.
I forget sometimes.
Yeah, but we made our towns with a bunch of passages that cross over each other, and I pull up the map and I can't fucking tell which way I'm supposed to go.
It is
Right,
actually
that
really
map is
impressive.
the worst one because there's so many things over each other that it doesn't tell you anything, basically.
That is like one of the more like confusing layouts for a town I've dealt with in a video game recently, which is weird because visually it does not betray this. It looks very simple to navigate just looking at it. Then you bring up the map and then you try to combine that with the reality of the pathways you're walking on. It's like,
And realize there's a secret passage under the church. And
Right,
it's
it's
like, what?
like-
Right? Like, this is a great
that's a
rectangle.
pathway.
That's 3 different elevations and a tunnel.
right, exactly. So that was funny to get used to in that village, yeah.
That reminds me, I went back and boot up FF7 remake to directly compare it to this.
Yeah.
That has a mini map. I was just upset.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't give you a mini map like that. Give me a mini.
I
If
don't
I'm
know.
navigating an RPG in 3D space, I probably want a mini map.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like those towns don't have combat in them. Like you could literally just show me the mini map in a town.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's really funny. You were talking about how sometimes Clive just runs. And it really is just Yeah, they're like town areas, and they don't want you to move quickly through those ever. So only when you're running straight enough in a straight enough line for long enough in an area that's outside of those zones does he just go, now.
Yeah, they do the Devil May Cry 4 thing, where if you go in the same direction long enough, you boot into higher speed.
Which I need to stress pissed me off when Devil May Cry 4 did it.
Yeah, no, that was bad in Devil May Cry 4. I don't know why
I'd
it's
much
here.
rather just have a button.
Because even in the newer re-release of Devil May Cry 4, they shortened the time.
Oh yeah, they shortened it to like nothing. It's the same thing they did with DMC5. It was like, no, you just start running after only a few steps because of course you want to move faster.
Why wouldn't you? Anyway, Bob, is there anything you specifically wanted to talk about outside of any future things?
I guess not. Like I don't want to. Like most of what I have to talk about is end game spoiler stuff, and it's like okay.
Yeah. And for me, it's like a more nuanced discussion and a longer discussion that I feel like I want to have here.
Right, about probably dissecting the characters and everything like that. As I mentioned last week, I also was incredibly disappointed with the cast.
Yeah, I wanted to give them a bunch of room because I hadn't beaten the game at that point. But now I've beaten the game, and I will say overall the cast is not quite up to snuff with a lot of the Final Fantasies. Like, no, I don't. Maybe this person's out there. Maybe it's you, person who's listening to this right now. I can't imagine you, person who's listening right now, sitting there saying 15's cast is way worse than this. It's like, how could you think that? I don't know.
15 also had a really weak cast.
It has 4 fucking bros, and they have more charisma and energy and likability and stuff than the entire cast in this game.
Yeah, one thing that really like they'd achieved the God of War like thing of having the characters talk to each other as you play the game and having that fleshed out as characters. Whereas in 16, they go mute as soon as the story stops. Yeah. Like if it's not a cutscene, they're not saying anything, which is maddening after playing stuff like God of War and Final Fantasy 15.
It would have fucking certainly helped a lot if in those parts where they're with you when you're out doing shit, they had conversations like that. That would certainly fucking help.
Yeah, that definitely would.
I love Gav though. I love that man.
Oh yeah.
Gav is splendid.
I think I touched on this last week, but I'll do it again. The game being really desaturated and having this FSR2 and kind of running bad, like I think on all fronts visually, it's kind of not working out, which is weird because, you know, as Chris was talking about earlier, some of the underlying assets of this game are absolutely stellar looking. You know, there's some amazing art design things like mother crystals and shit.
There was just
great.
cutscenes of characters talking, and sometime I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, this looks good.
Yeah.
This looks unfucking real. But then you get into the you start getting the fucking motion blur and stuff, and it's like, oh, it doesn't look nearly as good anymore.
Yeah. So I'm excited for whenever, assuming this does happen, whenever this hits PC to see what it can look like there. Because obviously, instead of FSR2, they could use DLSS, or you could brute force it to a higher resolution. I want to see what the game looks like at its best. Which is why I'm going to buy a PS5 Pro whenever they announce that.
So am I. I'm a fucking idiot.
Honk, honk.
Now it'll just be whether or not I buy it before or after the Slim or not. Do I buy both?
That's also where I am. Like, I'm being like, if they announce a slim PS5 that has a flat fucking surface it can rest on, I'll be like, am I seriously gonna like take a $200 hit to buy that and then take another $200 hit the next year, or $300 hit to buy the Pro? Yeah, I probably am.
Oh, that's fucking ridiculous. See, I have this thing. It's a crazy thing. It's called an excuse. I get to go, I bought Tosha PS5. Oh, look, I have a Slim in my house.
It's the perfect bedroom console.
I feel like I'd probably be like, hello, friend of mine who wants one of these consoles, but not enough to pay $500. Would you like my old PS5 for $200?
What's your favorite type of peanut butter? Is it chunky?
And then I would go buy the And then the next year, I'd be like, "Would you like a slimmer PS5 for $200? So I can buy PS5 Pro."
Why would I need a second PS5? You got a bedroom, don't you?
I'm seeing someone in the chat say, no one on this stream will clear the marshmallow test. I didn't get a PS4 Pro. I sat with my launch PS4 until that gen ended. I am strong.
What's
But
the marshmallow
I also
test?
that's
I
where
don't
if you
even know
don't
what
eat
that
the
is.
marshmallow, you get 2 marshmallows. They test children to see if they have that ability to deny immediate satisfaction for long term.
They gave me that shit in middle school.
Oh, really?
But I knew what it was when it was happening.
Yeah.
So I just looked the proctor in the face and ate the marshmallow. I only wanted one. You don't own me.
I mean, this is a different case because I absolutely would not upgrade to the Slim if the PS5 sat on a fucking flat surface. I am tired of accidentally nudging the PS5 while cleaning or something, and it fucking you bumped the fucking stand loose. It's now fucking all tilted.
Oh
Fuck
yeah,
you,
it
Sony.
sucks. Honestly,
Fuck
when
yourself.
you set the
Worst
stand up
console design in years.
when you set the stand up vertically, it feels so rigid and fucking good. And then it's like, why couldn't you feel this good horizontal? Yeah. But,
I don't have
Aggro,
a
you
tons
should have
of
done
space
that
to have these
and
fucking
looked at-
obelisks.
And then looked at the prompter and been like, I have diabetes.
Just set an EpiPen on the counter. You have 2 minutes to not go to prison. Final Fantasy.
Yes.
Before we leave,
Yes.
I wanted to address a couple of things I've been hearing about this game.
Okay.
One is people being like, "This isn't like not mechanically, but thematically and in world. This doesn't feel like Final Fantasy. I'm not seeing any Final Fantasy enemies. Those people have brain worms and their eyes don't work." Like frame 1, weird dog, that same plant that's in every Final Fantasy game, and then a giant wasp.
Yeah, no, there are Final Fantasy enemies in this.
I was
Right.
fighting fucking bombs.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, no, they're there.
Right.
Yes, that is true.
also, fuck yeah, this game is full of anime bullshit, and it's amazing.
No, this is exactly like Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it is really funny. Somebody made like a Trojan horse, like a edit of the Trojan horse, and it's like Final Fantasy 16 is like Game of Thrones, and then the inside was just anime. And it was like, we tricked normal people into playing anime.
Right? Like, I had a moment of self-actualization, which gave me an in-universe power-up. I'm like, this is that good shit.
And then that's when Clive said, "The heart."
We have to get through the entire thing we're currently going through and chugging bleach before we can find out more about the heart.
I know, it's
God.
fucking terrible.
There's something particular that's very shown in anime that does really late that I can't talk about. That
Right,
I've
yeah.
groaned so hard.
Oh, my God.
It's a double-edged sword.
It is
It is
because
a
it's
double-
not the
yeah.
cool shown in anime thing. It's one of those other things. It's one of those like
Trophy.
filler.
Yeah, yeah.
shown in anime things.
So I don't know if this is just my damage. Like, you two should share this damage with me.
Sure. Wait, no, probably not. But go ahead.
Am I the only one who couldn't stop thinking about Lords of Shadow the entire time I was playing 16?
I mean, he does
Because this
kind of
game is
look like
kind of what
Gabriel
Lords of
Belmont.
Shadow was going through, and yeah, he does
I mean,
look like that guy when you get the leather outfit.
right. He
I'm
looks
like,
kind of like him, and
not the
it
outfit
has-
made of leather,
it
but
does
the
that thing.
leather outfit.
It keeps doing that thing where they'll use a name for something just because they want to have those Final Fantasy names out all the time.
right?
So I get that, but I didn't have that much a problem with constantly thinking about Lord of Shadow.
But
though.
here's the thing: in Lords of Shadow, they didn't even go, "Here's Dracula." He's just Dracula from Symphony of the Night again. Why would you expect anything different? So it's a little different in how it's doing it from
God,
Lords of Shadow, because Lords of Shadow would be like, "Yeah, that's that painter," and I'm like, "That mutant freak over there that looks like it should be Mutant Football League? That's Bronner." Yeah, his name's Bronner, so he's got brawn, right? No,
You're wrong.
wrong,
Yeah,
incorrect.
At no point did I feel like they were doing that thing where it's like, yeah, just say the name of the fucking thing. They'll like it.
You get to one of the cities and it's like Midgar.
Yeah, that would be the point where I'm like, okay.
It does do that with some of the cities, but luckily it's not Midgar, which would really be a lightning rod for everyone's brain. Being one of the most famous Final Fantasies in the main city. Yeah, I don't have anything else I want to get into here. I'm just going to pose. I ran into people online who are like, this is definitely an RPG. And I'm like, if this is definitely an RPG enough to be called an action RPG, then so is God of War. And they go, no. And I go, why?
Yeah, that's insane. If you're saying the new God of War things are not an RPG, you're an idiot.
Yeah,
like, I'm not even gonna hold back.
If you draw the line there, this is on that side of the line.
This is so much less RPG than God of War.
Genre
it's
is
crazy.
always subjective, and like you can make a rational argument for either or, but no, that is a stone cold fact. Like, if this is this, then this is also this.
I don't care which side you land on, but they're both the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right, they're barely different, except for God of War Ragnarok might be more debatably an RPG than this, but I don't care to have that discussion at all. Like, in the fucking least.
Yeah, that's not a valuable discussion for anybody to have. I don't even think that is this an RPG is a particularly valuable discussion to have. Maybe if the Final Fantasy 17 comes out and is also the same thing as this, that will become a worthy discussion, but that is not the case right now.
I mean, we're already at 2 action games in a row, so whatever. Like
7 remake doesn't count.
What
I
about
guess
15?
Yeah.
15 is
so 3.
15's not real.
Yeah, we're at 3.
15's not real. 15's not a real thing.
15 was a car PG, so that was a totally different.
It's crazy when we didn't get a Final Fantasy for 12 years.
15 is so fucking hacked into pieces and not a real game in my mind that I can't count it for anything.
Man, I can't wait for Dragon Quest 12.
Same.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real. If Dragon Quest 12, if that's an action game, I'm gonna start shit. Like we're gonna be entering. I will be the internet's most insufferable man.
Yeah, you guys need to understand. I grew up, and I've told the story a couple times. A big thing, but we've been doing this for years now. I grew up, and I liked action RPGs a lot back when it was very few of them. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You had Secret of Mana. You had the Mana series, and then you had like Kingdom Hearts,
and Star Ocean,
and Valkyrie Profile. But Valkyrie Profile is less so than these others,
right?
And that was really neat, and they were really different. And now, like these mainline turn-based JRPGs are all becoming action RPGs. If Dragon Quest 12 goes that way, I'm going to become livid. I will absolutely just start some shit.
I have trouble picturing them doing that, but who the fuck knows?
Me too. I don't know.
I don't know. I think if this hadn't started development, I think in 2017 is when they said this game started development. It might not even be an action game because we had such a resurgence in turn-based games since then. And I'm gonna be. This isn't even directly related to, but it is a weird thing to note that this is the year where a mainline Final Fantasy comes out as an action game, and Baldur's Gate 3 comes out and is turn-based.
I think 17 is probably going to be like. I think the smart move is to make 17 a turn-based game, so that way anyone who played this and was a hater of this sees it as not a continuation of it. So obviously that their preconceptions based on this cannot apply to that. And people who felt it left out entirely by this also get to look at that as a clean break. It seems like the safest choice going forward. Now, will they make that call? I have no idea. But Xenoblade seems to be doing all right for Nintendo. So hybrid turn-based MMO combat.
Right.
There's this weird. We're in this weird spot, specifically with Final Fantasy, where what makes AAA games so much fucking easier? Iteration. What does Final Fantasy never fucking do?
Yeah.
Iteration. So we're in this bizarre place where it's like, are you gonna make a whole new action system every game? I don't think you will. That shit's much easier if you just do turn-based.
Absolutely.
And personally, the best future in my mind is Square Enix going, the Switch 2 is good enough now, so this shit's multi-plat.
Yeah, you have to wonder if Sony would allow for that.
Final Fantasy.
They keep
don't fucking
writing
own Final
those
Fantasy.
checks.
I mean, if they ship on the Switch too, they don't need Sony's check.
I don't know about like Visual Arts Group did some, like, once again at a certain amount of money and assistance.
I just think Final Fantasy 15 sold like shit in Japan because it was PS4 only, or next gen only. This game sold even worse in Japan. Like, it sold half as much as 15. I think at some point Square Enix is going to go, we don't want Final Fantasy to not be something the Japanese audience buys at all. Like, we have to get this shit on the Switch at some point. Like, I don't see any universe where they aren't looking at those numbers and are like, eventually we have to fix this.
Yeah, I was looking at historical data because I don't know, it was relevant to some conversation I was having. And I think it was like, Bob, I was talking out loud with you about this stuff. Wasn't it that Final Fantasy 13 sold like 1 million copies in Japan in like a month or some shit?
Final Fantasy 10 sold 2 million copies week 1 in Japan.
Yeah, so
this game sold 300,000 week 1.
Right. So
like, and I honestly think that if they ship on the Switch 2, that game will ship 15 million copies on the Switch 2.
I'm seeing some people in chat saying it's 1.5 million. No, it's just one person who said it twice. Okay. Yeah, the PS5 had a real problem in Japan where they could only start selling them to real humans very recently instead of scalping.
Right.
Like, consoles aren't big.
Well, here's the thing.
Now.
Here's the thing, though, Chris. They literally couldn't sell them at all in Japan because they were scalped. So we have no metrics. Like, we don't know what the Japanese demand for the PS5 has been because it's only legitimately been on sale in the country for a very short amount of time. That's why Harada made that tweet when he finally got his, because it was literally impossible. Because for people who don't know, people would go pre-order all the PS5s and sell them in China. Like, that's what's been happening for 2.5 years. I didn't realize this was this bad until earlier this year, because I just assumed it was scalping, the same scalping that was happening everywhere else, right? I'm like, oh, we're further away from launch, we're good. No. Apparently not. Apparently there's just a lot of money to be made in that, which is fucking weird. So maybe if we even had a whole year of not being plagued to a severe extent by that, it would have sold better.
15 was also real low. Like, everybody noted, like, yeah, this is the lowest opening a Final Fantasy game's ever had in Japan.
Yeah,
so
I didn't see any of the data, but yeah.
It just feels like Japan doesn't give a shit about these huge, hyper powerful boxes anymore. And if if Nintendo solves the loading issue, so that isn't the problem, I could really see Square Enix be going like, why aren't we putting this on the platform? Like, I just can't see any universe where Square Enix goes, yeah, we're shipping a mainline Final Fantasy on a Nintendo thing for the first time since fucking 6. And that not producing like an unbelievably massive surge of sales.
Especially since it will be turn-based.
Yeah, if they do both.
Right, it'd have to, like, to fit on a Switch too, even, because clearly they keep, like, this thing is...
it's over 100 gigs.
Yeah, it's huge, and it's pushing the PS5 in ways it doesn't turn sometimes. It's like, oh, it's dying over what?
Remember, not everything that's hard to run is impressive.
Right, it's that crisis effect a lot of times.
Crisis effect, yeah.
So yeah, I feel like they need to change their dev like process a lot going forward. I don't know if they're going to do it because like now Kiyoshida said recently, like, I don't know, we might go back to turn-based if we go back to pixel art. I'm like,
that is not what he said. That is not what he said. That's one of those things where they fucking translated it wrong. What he said was, I don't know if the next Final Fantasy is going to be turn-based. I'm not fucking making it. If I was making it, I would want to do pixel graphics, which is not the same statement in my mind.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think there's every reason in the world for them to make it either MMO hybrid or just straight up turn-based combat. It's kind of weird that Xenoblade's right over there and Xenoblade 2 sold so well, and then the MMO Final Fantasy team went, let's make an action game. Like, that's so bizarre to me.
It's because it started development in the height of like, no, that's what every one of these needs to be. Like, nobody wants these turn-based games. And then like 2 months after they started development, Persona 5 comes out and sells like 7 million copies over the course of its lifespan.
Yeah. I mean, there's an approachability it, so
There's people who there's all these fucking arguments. Is Final Fantasy 16 too easy? Is it not too easy? Well, what about accessibility? I'm like, you know what would solve this problem? A genre that doesn't have execution is an issue.
right. And that's the thing I try to stress to people. Like, the amount of people I worked with across all the years of working retail who enjoyed Final Fantasy back when it was turn-based because of that, because it is just making it. Hell, I was thinking about it for an accessibility thing. Just throwing this here because there's no other format for this. It would be really neat if we had as a universal standard on some future shipping console. It's like, hey, here's your console. It's a normal fucking console. It has a normal fucking controller. We also shipped it with a remote similar to the Wiimote that can work as a pointer. Because as it turns out, it's a very intuitive interface to point at a thing and click at it. As it turns out people are doing that on their phones and mice right now.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about that for point and clicks and other genres. But turn-based is such a simple thing to engage with mentally on an execution level that is an important thing to get truly mainstream.
And people are always like, well, people get mad at Final Fantasy not being turn-based. There's all the other turn-based games. The decision to make an action game defined every single part of Final Fantasy 16. Like, you would not, if like on the story level, on the world design level, everything. You can't decouple them from each other and be like, well, there's other turn-based games. Do you know how much fucking more expensive it is to make an action game than a turn-based game? Do you understand like the difference in testing and fucking bullshit you have to do?
Yeah, every icon battle absolutely is millions of dollars.
Right.
Not even just that. Just like, well, we made Devil May Cry.
Right.
That's a lot more expensive than making a turn-based system.
Right. There's a reason those areas that are like that are so very, very linear. Like the story mode elements that are that, where it's just like, we have to control the scope of this. But yes, also for testing and other things, that is much harder than a turn-based RPG.
So like, I'm not like, oh, well, there's no turn-based games ever because Final Fantasy isn't turn-based. I'm like, no, the decisions that go after the decision to make it turn action, like everything's related. You can't decouple them from each other. It's not like if they had decided to make Final Fantasy 16 turn-based, it would have been the same game, but turn-based. It would have been entirely different in every single way.
I'm good to move on, but I want to throw out one last statement that is very tied to what you just said. I see a lot of people getting up in arms about anyone who's like, I don't really want to play 16 because it's not an RPG. Like, and to them, they mean like, you know, turn-based or something a bit more RPG-like. And I see a lot of people like, okay, well, if that's a problem, then just stop caring about the franchise. I'm never going to be cool with anyone saying that to any fan of any franchise because I've been through Lords of Shadow. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, it's completely bullshit to be like, so wait, the person who supported the franchise all this time should just get pushed out because they don't like the transparent pandering to the mainstream? That's bullshit.
They also don't want to like hit square, triangle, square, triangle, square, triangle, square, triangle. 8 inputs over and over for a 40, 50 hour game. Like, yeah, it really just, that aggravates me deeply because the Lords of Shadow phase was so hard to go through as a Castlevania fan because it shares no like it has no qualities even. At least this has bomb designs that look like bombs. Lords of Shadow has none of that. But people would be like, yeah, but it's got spooky universal monsters like the NES games. And I'm like, it's not even action-wise like the NES games. It's not the same thing. So anyway.
Yeah, that's always frustrating. There's always those people who want to like just, no, newest thing is best thing. I will punch down on anyone who doesn't like newest thing. And it's always so super frustrating.
Yeah.
I feel like I've gone through that.
Right.
With every franchise I like. Every one of them, it feels like I get that. Like,
it's everything. And again, like, I played Final Fantasy 14 in 2021. You can't say this is nostalgia, me going the old ones are better. Final Fantasy 14 is in my top 5 Final Fantasies.
I was
I'm transparently not, like, it's obviously not, well, new thing bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tried to think of the weirdest case, the most unpopular case that I know of this happening with, and it was actually Zelda. Because a friend of the channel, Riona, she's into 3D Zeldas, but the Breath of the Wild stuff is different enough where it's just not for her.
Right.
And there are those people. And this isn't like Riona's being bullied, but it's like this happens with so many different things. And I watch people like, what was it? Yakuza went through the same thing. It's like, oh, it's a turn-based RPG now. And then people are like, whatever, it's always been. And I'm like, no, it's not. And frankly, I'm more interested now that it's a turn-based RPG. I'm more interested than ever, but that doesn't mean everyone has to be interested, right? That's a different type of gameplay.
Right.
At least with that, they were also like, here's this new sub-series
Right.
Judgment that is the same thing. Like, if Square Enix was like, okay, the mainline Final Fantasy is action now, here's the turn-based Final Fantasy franchise that has exactly as much money.
Yeah, it'd be cool if they kept making World of Final Fantasy.
Not that that ever had as much money.
Yeah, certainly a lot fucking more money than that. A lot more money. A lot more. A lot. A lot. Fucking, please.
We're dying here.
I think that has roughly as much money as Soul Hackers 2, a game that I could charitably describe as no money.
Wow, the opening of World of Final Fantasy is so majestic here on the shipping dock that you got off the Unity asset store. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Luckily for me, I'm into action games, so that didn't scare me away from Final Fantasy 16, which, reminder,
Game code provided by Square Enix.
You guys ready to talk about another video game?
Yeah, we can talk about anything else now.
Hey, Bob.
Hey.
Did you play something other than Final Fantasy 16 and Synapse, which you totally played?
I didn't play that.
But you watched me play that, and you're
a
like,
little bit.
Wow, that looks really cool. I hope I get a turn soon. And I'm like, can't hear you earbuds in.
I played a little bit of Rogue Legacy 2.
Cool.
That game is still not for me. Like, I still don't like the way it feels in general. Like, it feels a little too floaty and just...
Yeah, I get it. Like, there's parts where it's like the challenge. You jump through this fucking obstacle course to get this item, and I go, okay, and I'm like, go backwards, and I'm like, I have to get hit because I don't fall fast enough.
Yeah, that's why you didn't hear me be like, hey, Bob, you really need to play Rogue Legacy 2, because I'm like, I'm pretty sure you still won't like the feel.
Yeah, no, it's still like, at least the 30XX is coming out soon.
Yeah,
that'll be cool.
That's fucked up because this year was packed enough for my Game of the Year list, and now 30XX is like, I slept 2 years to fuck you on this day.
But yeah, Rogue Legacy 2 definitely. I'm glad I got to try that on your PS5.
My PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, it's your PlayStation Plus. So no one had to pay for it, and I was just able to be like, yep. Not for me.
Also, hey, reminder, if you have PlayStation Plus Essential, which is the normal PlayStation Plus, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War is free this month. You don't have to download. Just go register it. That's the best Call of Duty they've made in forever.
Yeah, it might be the last good Call of Duty they ever make.
It really's looking like it, bros.
We've had 2 hard misses in a row.
Cothead's got cocky. What else did you play, Bob?
I played a lot of Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Oh, and Alan Wake Remastered, but I realized I already bought that.
Oh, no.
So how's Star Wars Jedi Survivor?
Yes, Jedi Survivor.
Yes. How is that?
This game seems really good.
After playing through 16, it visually blew my fucking mind out of my ass just looking over at it.
It looks insane. Like Final Fantasy 16, it does have some bad like FSR looking whatever up-res thing they do.
Temporal AA.
Yeah, it looks real bad. One time it literally made a lady's face become goo as she moved across the screen. It was horrifying. But other than that, it looks really nice. This game is way faster than the first game. Like, you walk around the environment faster, you climb shoes things faster. You have squeeze shoes, but you just sort of like get going.
Nice.
Scramble throughs.
Yes. You get a grapple hook within the first like 10 minutes, which speeds up movement even more.
Nice.
It was a lot of fun. I've been very impressed with it.
Mm-hmm.
You get like all your various lightsaber modes back within the first like hour, and then they start adding more stuff on top of that, and they built a ton more loopbacks. So like every couple like rooms, you'll get a thing that takes you back to earlier in the level. So you get easily traversable levels that are still like highly interconnected. So it's clearly still inspired by like Metroid Prime, but it feels less Dark Soulsian now because the first game was a lot of that.
Yeah, there were, how would you say, like a couple per environment, maybe even a few, but they would be so far apart these past, and they would be one directional. Not all of them, but some of them. So you're saying it's a lot more this time, so it's a lot more traversable easily.
Yeah, no, you are constantly getting like a grapple hook point to go backwards or some other way to loop back more easily. And it's like, wow.
See, I had the earbuds in. I couldn't hear Bob over here. He was just like, wow, 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 wow.
The combat still feels a little loose and goofy, kind of like the first game, but it's also faster too. So it kind of makes up for it. It feels like enemies die really quickly. Like within 2 or 3 hits, they're dying to your lightsaber a lot of the time. And they'll be more focused on, okay, we spawned a bunch of enemies in. You have force power, so like shove them off the cliffs and stuff like that. It's a ton of fun. They also added Yoshi. Like you get a mount, and you can do the jump off him when he's in air.
I figured it was just going to be a dinosaur. I didn't think you were talking about, you could just kill this fucking creature to get the other side of the gap. That's fucked up.
You can pet the little bog creatures, they're fluffy things that are obviously the things that teach you to Super Metroid.
Oh,
those
that's
things,
what you were talking about.
Yeah,
okay.
They like show you how to do moves, like they show you to do wall jump and stuff like that. And he can come and pet them. It's good.
Yeah,
Nice.
You also are building up this saloon because it seems like a lot of the games going to take place on one planet. That's pretty expansive. But the saloon is in the center of it, and as you do like side quests and stuff, you keep sending people back to the saloon, and they become shops, and they open up like a gardening mini game on top of the shop, and they open up a weird chest like mini game. It's really good. It did make me think a lot of times, like, man, this sure is like if Final Fantasy 16 were good. Every character, like all the dialogue's really smooth. Everyone has great personalities. It's very strong, and immediately when you meet them.
and one of them's voiced by Zim.
Yes, one of them's obviously Zim.
What else do you need?
Bob was over there. He's playing the fucking game, and I'm like, one of these assholes is from some voice actor I should know. I don't fucking remember who, though. I just go back to typing my shit for my bullshit job doing podcasting, and then I hear fucking Zim, and I go, oh, God, right. Yeah, that was, shit.
Load times are surprisingly bad.
Really?
Yeah, like you'll even... The worst of them are load times that are like Metroid Prime, where you just have to stand outside a door because it's loading. So the saloon has the strongest one of those. Like, they put a ton of stuff in there. So you go up to the door and it starts blinking, and it's like, okay.
Do they have diegetic?
Yeah, it blinks.
Okay, good. I was gonna say, like, you need the loading thing on the door.
Do they have like diegetic dialogue about like, oh, we should really get that door fixed?
No, they haven't done that
They
yet.
didn't get Joel Haver to play a couple of the characters and just be like, oh, geez, that door, I tell you. Really busting my balls.
So I'm assuming it like works now.
I'm so fucking...
It seems somewhat stable. It still runs kind of bad, and it still has that thing where the whole image can become goo because of the temporal anti-aliasing.
I think on PC people found a way to inject DLSS to replace that because the FSR2 is or the Unreal Engine one's bad.
I hear the PC version's in way worse state though, like
every
unplayably bad.
Every time Jeff Gerstmann ever spoke about it, it was like, yeah, it's still on fire, seemingly. I would love to go back and play that game that I've owned since launch. It would be great if it worked right. Bob, I need you. I need you to do this for me.
What's up?
Can you save me? I need you to look in my eyes and say, now, Dan, despite everything I just told you, you will definitely hate this game, so don't even play it, because I know your Game of the Year list looks like a fucking joke with your 4 fucking VR games, one of which is a Star Wars. You don't need 2 Star Wars games on your fucking Game of the Year list, Dan.
It feels less Dark Souls-y enough, so you probably would like it. I don't know, because every time I died, I'm like, I'm only a few feet away from the spawn point. It's not a big deal.
This is the last thing I wanted him to say.
Like I said, the combat still feels a little wonky, but it's manageable, and a lot of what I have fun doing is traversal, which is way better.
Cool.
Because you can
Thanks, Bob. Thank you so much. Doing me solid.
One of the planets they went to is a desert planet, and it like the first thing it does is like it's tremors. Don't stand on the sand; it'll get you.
So, do you walk without rhythm?
No, you have to jump over it because
okay, shit, right?
Totally different sandworm.
Okay,
yeah,
I
very
got a little
different.
confused. This game, guys, you need to understand. Like, you hear online, oh, this game looks good. And then you watch a YouTube video of it, and you're like, yeah, it looks good. No. No, when I fucking saw that shit on his TV, I'm like, oh, that looks good. Like, fucking, there's some fucking ineffable quality in it that you can't put in a YouTube video and put up for people to see.
it is kind of crazy. Like all the textures look real nice, and all the animations look very impressive. And oh man, it's a cool looking game.
Yeah, it's kind of up there with God of War Ragnarok on the level of like fucking gorgeous. It might be beyond God of War Ragnarok.
If it didn't have that thing where everything becomes goo, it would be up there.
You know, people were talking earlier today about like what a PS5 Pro could even offer that would be meaningful. And genuinely, this isn't a joke. I'm not punching down. Final Fantasy 16 made me realize that if AMD just engineered some solution that used bespoke hardware to do temporal AA, just like NVIDIA does with DLSS, and that was one of the only primary differences in the PS5 Pro, I'd be like, yeah, I'd buy that day one. Like, fucking just make these games look better, please.
Oh, yeah. Another thing is they added a bunch more customization stuff, because you could already give them different ponchos and stuff in the first game, but now you have like a jacket and an undershirt to replace. You get a bunch of different hairstyles, a bunch of different beard styles. You can turn the beard off immediately, which I did, because oh my god, that beard is terrible.
What? How could you do that?
It's real bad.
How could you do this to me?
You can get the handlebar mustache, okay?
Yes.
And you can do that.
Nice.
Yeah, and you should. I don't think you're role-playing Cal lightsaber correctly.
It is set like a few years after the first game, and everyone, like the crew is disbanded, and Cal's just out on his own. Like he's built up his own crew of like rebels to go fight the Empire. Mm-hmm. And he's like, this kind of sucks. It feels like we're not doing anything. And it's kind of a get the band back together story, it feels.
That makes the mustache work even better.
Yes, I'm explaining. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
I should just give him the mullet and the mustache.
You should.
We need to get the barbershop quartet back together.
And then at the final act, you can shave it.
Now shit's real serious.
Oh my god. They added much more customization for BD, the little robot. So you can actually like get lots of different. Like you get change out his eyepieces, his earpieces, his whole body, and his legs all separately, and it has a really cute animation for it. Like he's sitting here, new part's over here, and it like shoves into him and bounces out.
Yeah, executive ball clicker.
Yeah, it's really good
for fucking parts.
Nice.
It is pretty cool.
And they fully customize your lightsaber. Like you get pieces for every single piece, and all this is not stat based, so you can just do what you think looks cool.
Bitchin'.
You played through one. You played through Fallen Order. We have someone asking, would you say beating the first one was worth it? Bob and I are going to have radically different answers, I feel like.
I like the first one a lot. So I say beating it's absolutely worth it.
I would say no. Don't touch that game. It's secretly the worst part. It breaks a Dark Souls brain rot in a disc.
They do have a thing at the beginning of this.
Element?
How much is what?
How are we on the Soulsy elements in this, Bob? Like, how much does it feel like that?
It feels way less. Like I said, the checkpoints are pretty frequent, and you have like quick get backs to everything.
So wait, you're telling me these motherfuckers listened to our spoiler cast? They went, that Dan guy's right. We didn't realize how someone who hadn't been playing a terminal amount of Dark Souls would view this game.
Yeah, they still do the thing where it's like you lose like. You build up point or the experience point, and if you get a whole level with it, it gets you a skill point. Oh, so you don't lose that skill point if you die. You only lose experience if you die.
Oh,
So,
okay.
and then if you go, like, you just need to attack the enemy who killed you last time, or if it's a boss, they'll just put it in the ground somewhere to grab.
Okay.
And it also gives you a heal when you grab it too, so you can use that like as a
Second
I'm
wind.
fighting. You're right. You're fighting
Yeah.
the boss, and I'm going to grab that while doing it. So it feels way like Dark Soulian. It was already Sekiro like, where it's a bunch of like timed blocks and stuff to do the combat. So it maintains that. But
it's bad and I shouldn't play it. Is what I need you to say.
Yeah, Dan, don't play it. It's bad. It definitely isn't going on my game of the year list. It's definitely not just right below RE4 right now or anything. But I'm a Star Wars fan, so whatever, right?
Yeah, but you know how I constantly say Star Wars is a beautiful universe to make your games in because there's so much potential and really cool shit.
Right.
Fuck. Circuit Breaker comes out in 6 days. Game Boy Color Mega Man like thing on PC.
Oh yeah,
Gravity Circuit, not
Gravity
Circuit
Circuit.
Breaker.
I was like,
That's not a thing. What are we talking about?
Bob, Pen Smasher comes out in 4 days.
I don't know why I'm never gonna remember the name Gravity Circuit because
I
that
don't
doesn't make
know.
any fucking sense. Maybe
it
I'll play
sounds like
the
an
game.
F-Zero game that never happened.
It does.
How far did you get in F-Zero? Oh, I always crash on Gravity Circuit. Like fucking.
I was surprised. It's a T-rated game, but like a decapitation happens just this far off screen in the first hour.
The camera, it's like a Mel Brooks film. The camera just
Yeah, but stormtroopers look like robots, and it's a lightsaber, so it's fine.
It wasn't a
It's
stormtrooper.
fine.
It was a boss character.
Oh, shit.
oh shit.
Yeah.
Was it the old guy from the first game?
No, he has not made his return yet.
He hasn't rised yet. He hasn't risen.
Somehow, the old man from the first game.
Yeah.
returned.
And he's buffing.
They did introduce a new really cool like villain. I was pretty surprised by. It was like, yeah, this ancient Jedi is now turned Sith and still alive somehow. Like, that's pretty cool.
I'm gonna need you to get through this game fast because if that old man comes back, that is our game of the year bit. We're just cutting to aggro and a group of fucking Star Wars cosplayers in the middle of the forest. We don't know how, but somehow buff Grandpa from the first game is back. And then it's just us. No.
Well, is he going to show that he's even more insane by taking off his pants in this one?
I mean, that's the pre-boss fight animation that asserts dominance over the
It
players.
gets so fucking crazy, it just starts playing Yu Yu Hakusho Dark Tournament music.
I can't remember. Did he die?
I think we owned him and threw him in a volcano, but I'm not
Right?
sure.
It's
Yeah,
unclear.
But
I feel like
somehow.
it was pretty clear he died. I think he like sank into the earth. I don't remember.
Anyway,
Yeah.
They also introduced new stances because you got the dual wielding and the twin saber like Darth Maul has in the first game, and like I said, you get those back really quick. But then it introduces a blaster style where you have the lightsaber and the blaster at once.
You become Space Cowboy.
Yes, and that seems pretty cool. And they have a thing of like to charge up the blaster shots, you kill guys with the lightsaber. And I'm like, oh, pretty cool. And you also, I found a shop.
I need to leave
like,
the room.
Literally is like gives you different charge shots for the blaster.
I'm done.
Bitch.
I'm not listening to this.
So like you said, stances, and I immediately started thinking like, oh, are we talking about the expanded universe, like Sarlacc style and Hot style and like all the official bullshit?
No, they don't do that. They just do these different forms of the saber.
Nice.
And the final one that I got was it makes into Kylo Ren's lightsaber, where it's had the side guards.
Shut the fuck
And he uses it like in a super heavy stance, kind of like Darth Vader.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty cool.
God damn it.
But yeah, it's really good. I've been enjoying it a lot. They also added not just the Yoshi mount, but there's also like sometimes in the environment there'll be these winged dudes that you can grab on and use as a glider, and that's been fun.
Nice.
And it seems like there will be multiple different mounts. Like I already ran into a second kind of like mount for the second world I went to. I was like, oh, this is neat.
Can't wait to try and fit this in at the end of the year.
Right?
Hey, at least Bob bought a physical copy.
That's true. I can loan it to people.
That's the great thing about fucking that I just remembered Xenoblade 3 DLC's waiting for me. People keep telling me, don't worry about Fire Emblem. It's all right, but it's like a spin-off sort of feeling. And I'm like, oh, so Octopath? And they're like, yeah, just go on to that 80-hour RPG. And I'm
That's
like,
all.
oh my God.
Really good.
But yeah, I think that's all I should say about Jedi Survivor. It's been really cool. It's been really cool.
Oh, hey. I forgot to ask you, Bob, before we started the podcast, and I'll ask now because whatever, it'll stir interest in the audience. Did you watch the anime opening for Silent Hope?
I did not.
Okay.
I meant to, but I didn't.
For people who don't know what game we're talking about, Silent Hope is that game made by the Harvest Moon developers that are, as in Story of Season developers, where the entire cast of the game is cursed to be silent JRPG protagonists, and only the princess from inside her crystal tear can communicate with them. They have an anime opening. It's pretty good. They're like, look at this cool shit. Food, cooking. And I'm like, yes. And then they show a Harvest Moon chicken. And I'm like, yes. Anyway. Did you have any other games you wanted to talk about, Bob?
No, that was it. I played that a lot.
Hey,
I was just finishing up the rest of the stuff I need to do in 16. All right, I tried Final Fantasy mode.
Oh, you tried Final Fantasy mode?
Yeah, because that unlocks after you beat the game.
That's the one that makes it turn-based, right?
No, that's the one that makes it harder for some reason.
I don't know why it does that. That's a really weird thing to call that mode.
Right, because it
Final
does the
Fantasy
same thing
is
as
not
God
Dark Souls.
Right, it does the
God
same
of
thing
War.
as God of War. It was like God of War mode. Yeah, because God of War's a hard action game. Final Fantasy's not a hard action game. What are you doing?
I mean, God of War mode is called God of War mode because you're supposed to be a god of war and thus
That
be
too,
very
it
proficient at
works,
the combat.
Right, it works two ways there.
It really...
I'm assuming Final Fantasy mode just makes all the bosses give you every status effect every time they hit you.
Actually, Final Fantasy mode just makes the game end.
It just adds more enemies to older levels and raises all the enemy levels up to like where you are at the end game, which is like 40s. So it really wasn't anything spectacular. It was like I don't know what game you thought you made, but it is not a replayable one. Absolutely not.
Clive just goes, Sid, you are the funniest man I have ever known. You are such a good friend. Then it rolls credits. I guess that was it. That was the final one. Okay. That's the game. Aggro.
What's up? How's it going?
You
How you
play
doing?
anything of it? You want a real update?
No, it's like a Fatic podcast thing. Like, hey, how's it going?
Hey,
By
hey,
a round
dude.
of applause,
Hey,
how are
dude.
you doing?
How you doing tonight? How you doing tonight?
How
Make
you
sure
doing?
to put some clap emojis in the comment section to let us know how you're doing. You play anything other than Final Fantasy 16?
No, like I remembered I meant to like buy Bolt Gun and play it this week, but then I didn't.
Oh.
So no.
Oh yeah, it's on sale for the summer sale, isn't it?
No.
I mean, almost all of Steam is.
Oh wait, did it come to console?
I think it did.
Oh.
So
Okay.
I just realized your PC was out of commission.
Yeah.
Fuck. Jesus Christ. He's
Yeah,
here
Bolt
in
Gun
the
released
room
on
and I
everything.
still have to... What game were we talking about? We were talking about some game and I'm like, you can PC or console? And he's just like, all right, the reason you're here, right. Your broken ass PC. Chris.
So I streamed Blaster Master 0, 1, and 2.
Ooh.
Blaster Master 0, 1 is a really sober version of Blaster Master 1.
Yes.
Blaster Master 1 is not a game I would recommend anybody play. I would recommend you play Blaster Master 0 instead, because that's the version of a game that it feels like anybody could actually beat. So what Inti did was they like fused all of the story from the different versions of Blaster Master 1, because there's a lot of different versions. Like in Japan, it's called like Metal Attacker Meta Fight or some shit like that.
That's pretty close. I think the word bio is in there somewhere, but
Is there a row battle?
Now I have to look up what it's called. What was it originally fucking called? It won't fucking tell me on the Wikipedia page because it's evil.
Yeah, that's how you know.
Super Planetary War Chronicle Meta Fight.
Fuck yeah.
And yet somehow the game named that didn't sell. That game did not sell in Japan. America saved that game.
And the plot in there is like there's a robot girl and the tank is called Metal Attacker and it's to fight all the mutants. And it's an entirely different story than the American version, which is dipshit kid who is supposed to be you, game player, chases his pet frog down a hole and finds an underground civilization and a tank. And he's like, I guess I have to kill everyone who has ever lived to get my frog back.
There's only one thing to do.
There's only one option. I'm really cornered here.
When all you have is a tank, all of your problems look like potential war crimes.
That's true.
So it kind of combines those elements. It's really funny that the best weapon, because the way this works is you get your gun gets it's like fucking Fester's Quest, where your gun gets better as you pick up power-ups, and if you take damage, the gun gets worse.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
in Zero, they give you an upgrade that's a shield that will soak one hit and you won't lose power, and it recharges every couple seconds. So that helps a lot. It also lets you switch between the different weapons, which I do not believe the first one did because it was a fucking NES game. So you can pick what shot type you want. And if you have the best shot type, the bosses melt in like 5 seconds. It's really funny to the extent that the extra final boss they added that you fight in because there's the tank gameplay and the ground gameplay, like you're on foot with a gun and it's like Zelda style. The final boss of that type of gameplay is new in Zero, and they made it immune to the best weapon. Because they're like, no, we don't want you to instantly fucking eviscerate this guy. We need you to try a little bit. But yeah, I liked it. You have to get every single thing in the game to get the true ending, which isn't that big a deal unless you miss something, and then it is a big deal because you have to backtrack to the entire fucking game to get it. Because this game is not it's not a Metroidvania. There's no interconnectivity.
Oh, and there's no warp points?
No,
there's no warp points.
You're driving the whole way back to Florida because your son forgot his Game Gear.
It's not as bad because the game actually, it starts at point A and then it extends out in one direction 3 levels, and then it extends out in the other direction for 3 levels. So you're not unless you critically fuck up, you shouldn't have to backtrack through the entire game twice. Guess what I did?
Oh no.
Which still didn't take very long because they give you enough mobility options that you can fly through the levels. They smartly were like, if you have the power up from this level, there's an alternate route that doesn't take nearly as long.
That's good. That's almost a like loop back.
But I liked it. I also liked Blaster Master Zero 2, a game which I really slagged on when I played it and talked about it on Big Thing to Mention when it came out. I don't fucking know what was wrong with me that day. I must have been in a really bad mindset because that game is fucking fine. Actually, I know exactly what was wrong with me. They get to a part of the game where this fucking bitch with a flower pot for a head and gigantic boobs that are watermelons is like, bring me 3 fruit. To get this fruit, you need a power-up. I'm not going to tell you where this is, and the entire gimmick of this level is that we're trolling you. Because there are enemies that just look like power-ups until you get close to them, and then they start attacking you. And there's even enemies that are disguised as save points. And at the time, one of those killed me, and it just made me so fucking butthurt that I dropped the game and was like, this game's fucking terrible. Fuck them. Fuck them for making this game.
That is like fucked up on a inhuman level.
But this time I persisted, and it was a pretty fine game. It's structured much more sanely. It's not all one big maze. You go to different planets, which are like Metroidvania style areas, like one area, and you find maps that create planetoids around those planets that you can then do little platforming or puzzle challenges to get power-ups. Something I didn't fucking know until people told me on stream is that all the other characters, like, because you meet the pilots of these other tanks. All of them are based on other Sunsoft games. With one of them being the main character of Icky, one of the worst NES games of all time. Which is like, Icky is a game about a farmer doing a farmer's rebellion in Japan. It's considered as bad as Atlantis no Nazo.
Yeah.
But the main character is there as one of the fucking pilots in Blaster Master Zero 2.
Isn't that
Like
the game they did a remake of that has an online multiplayer that did a Steam beta last year?
Yes.
Why'd they do that?
Because they're Sunsoft, and
Because it
Sunsoft
has
man
mimetic,
cannot be
it has
stopped.
mimetic, yeah, it has mimetic appeal, I guess.
Yeah, it's
Let's see. There's the watermelon boobs girl is not from a game, but one of the, because every tank has a pilot, an assistant android, and like a command animal, which is like their little mascot. Like the main characters is a frog,
A commandable, if you will.
I won't,
so the animal with the plant girl is from the Sunsoft game Trip World, and I think the android for the third guy is basically a design from Waku Waku 7. I forget if she's specifically a character.
Man, Waku Waku 7 sure is cool.
it's a hell of a
Waku Waku
game.
7 is cool. It's probably like Sunsoft's best fucking game.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, it's the robot girl Tessay, but they like fused her with a jellyfish, and that's
Well, why'd they do that?
that's the command droid.
That's
Because they didn't want
weird.
to use the exact same design.
There's an audience for that.
Actually, I thought about it for 10 seconds and I realized, no, Waku Waku 7 isn't the best Sunsoft game because there's that Batman game. And every
I know
Batman game
boomers
gets,
love that, but
every
is it
retro
actually-
YouTuber has taught me that Batman NES game from Sunsoft is one of the best video games ever made.
It's really not. It's pretty good for the NES though.
It's pretty stunning in a few different ways, but no, you're wrong, Chris. I'm gonna go with the retro gaming YouTubers on this one. I'm gonna trust them, okay?
I don't recommend that, but you can do what you like. But yeah, its mechanics are fine. It adds a sane amount of mechanics. Like it gives you a counter system that is really useful in some cases and fun. Because you get an ability that, yeah, you throw out a big ball around you that like Wololo converts enemy projectiles into your projectiles and throws them back at them. And that's really useful for a couple boss fights. You also, to get the true ending, you only have to do 3 little side quests. Because each time you meet one of these other teams, after you finish their part in the story, you can talk to them and are like, can you do this thing to help me out? And then if you do it, they're like, thanks, here's this plot item, and you need all 3 plot items to get the true ending.
Mm-hmm.
But I really liked it, and I'm excited to play 3. I might leave this being like, yeah, Blaster Master Zero is NT3's best franchise by a lot.
I mean, they already have 2 good games in it, apparently, which puts it above a lot of their franchises.
It also puts it above most of Blaster Master as a franchise.
Yeah, my understanding is they like bring every single Blaster Master thing into the Zero continuity. Like they use the whole animal.
Yeah, that's smart because a lot of those games in and of themselves aren't ideal.
I played one other thing other than Blaster Master Zero 1 and 2.
What was that?
I played Slayer's X Terminal Aftermath Vengeance of the Slayer. Now, Aggro, I need you to picture a person for me.
Okay, I'm going to start with Lena Inverse, and we'll go from there.
I'm going to tell you the person. You have to picture.
Okay, gotcha.
Damn.
Imagine a 15-year-old in 1999.
Okay,
They live in Idaho.
all right.
They love Limp Bizkit's Significant Other, The Cool S, Duke Nukem 3D, Hackers, The Matrix, and shooting guys with 2 guns and then saying a cool thing.
Oh yeah,
They hate their mom's boyfriend.
absolutely.
Now imagine that person grew up and became 38 and didn't change as a person at all and then made a game. This is that game.
Yeah, no, that just followed naturally. It was unbelievable how smooth of a transition that last part was. Fantastic.
Oh, this is
it is a retro
infuriating.
style FPS that is primarily an amazing character study of this fictional person who the developer role plays as on Twitter and never ever breaks kayfabe ever.
Yes.
Of course.
You can literally find secrets in the game of like, oh God, my best friend from high school remembered that I said I would help him make this and is now forcing me to help him make this fucking game. All of this is from his fucking high school notebook. What the hell is an X-Slayer? So you run around, you have to kill the evil psycho syndicate, who is led by a thinly veiled caricature of the guy's the person dating his mom.
Of course.
You do this by becoming the ultimate X-Slayer who uses a power called Hack Blood to do very poorly defined but cool things. And he shoots 2 guns and then says epic one-liners and has a sword that has a blade shaped like the cool S.
Oh my god. That's awful.
This looks amazing.
The part that's killing me about this game is on top of everything Chris is saying. It is worth noting. The title is Slayers X, Terminal Aftermath, Vengeance, misspelled intentionally,
Yes,
of
that's
the
why I said
Slayer.
Vengeance of the Slayer.
Fuck off!
The subtitles in the game regularly have misspellings. So do the Steam achievements.
Oh my god.
Of course.
Because they're all written in character. Several words are just spelt wrong. Like always, in the same way.
Oh my god.
It is incredible. It's only like 3.5 hours long if you only play through it once. That's why it's $16 even off sale.
Mm-hmm.
But I highly recommend it just as an unbelievable thing that exists.
Yeah. Like,
We
I'm
need
watching the
more
trailer right
games.
now. It's bending my brain.
We need more games that are like, what if this very specific person made their dream project successfully? It there's just stuff like, yeah, the person who voices the one girl character clearly doesn't want to be there and is doing the flattest, most pathetic reads possible, and is like obviously reading off a sheet of paper.
That's really good.
It's immaculate. But those are the things I played.
That's all you played? Well, I guess that means it's time for the Podlords. Fuck. What was that?
What?
What was that?
I said, truck.
Go to your room.
Fucking hate this house. It's like a prison. I'm gonna make a video game.
You're not trapped in here with me. I'm trapped in here with you.
Holy shit. That's like top 10 worst stepdad things to yell.
Let's see if we can transition this successfully this week. No.
Why would it work, Dan? Oh, hey, the Podlords.
Yes, that's right. It's the Podlords. Podlords such as, and I'm wondering how many of you haven't noticed this happening the entire time for years now. BN12 has worked his way up all the way from the bottom.
Damn.
That
That's
motherfucker
insane.
has been working his way up for like 2 years straight. And this was the week he overtook Ely Bryce.
Holy shit.
Yeah, no, that's
crazy.
fucked up.
Climbed the fucking mountain.
Jesus. I was like, any day now, BN12 will just stop and this will be sane. Ely Broyles. I don't even know how to say that name second. I just been too long.
I asked how to hydrate Excelgor on the official Pokemon forums.
That is not how you were intended to use those.
And yet, it is how everyone is using it. Red Blaze 27, Suzushiro, Rado, 101 Shades of Wonderful Remastered, WTF Spider-Man, Mr. I Like Spam. There we go. I did not expect the word Suicide Squad and Isekai to be used in the same sentence and to be done by a rather respectable anime.
Just
cut it off.
Just put it in my trash hole.
Please don't tell me which hole that is.
They're all my trash hole.
DFW 3K, Muckbun, Shiny Mew, Kristen, Kyle Bjork. So, how we doing?
Ooh, better than that guy.
Ugh.
Monster Hunter Rising and Raiden. Hey Dan, The Last Clockwinder is secretly a VR automation game disguised as a puzzle game. Yeah,
Stop trying to make Dan develop a condition.
This is very good. It will make a really great game to play as I discover a horrible condition. Cooper Tank. So mysteriful. Moon Muse Entertainment Studio. Indigo Sykes. Drive Typecast. Heading to LA for a week. That was all one word. That was all one name.
Oh, okay. Well, cool.
Hope you're still enjoying it. I feel like it's been longer than a week. Do we need to put out like a APB or whatever? Gaijin. War Criminal. Oh, by the way, EGAD's invented the Virtual Boy.
He did that. It was a real flop. I don't know what he was thinking with this one.
It's great. They name it the Virtual Boo.
That's really funny.
It's really good. Even a raccoon could manage Twitter better than whatever the hell Elon is doing to it.
Drew?
Shinji16 would like to remind you that this image contains public information you should be put to good use. The Super Mim! Do I really look like a guy with a plan?
Has that not been done before?
I know,
That was just good netted, I don't think.
Yeah, I was like, wait, is this the Isekai Joker from that anime they announced?
I'm surprised they didn't go with that version.
I hate this. I hate this a lot. Saraline. Timothy Pfister watched Victory Gundam, the Batman Beyond of the Universal Century.
I'm hyped.
Yo, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Dude, that new Ashura's Wrath game is awesome. I told you, Bob. Pleochrome. Krunglespum. It's been a pretty hard week mentally, but I found a photo of my dog who passed, and hopefully it can bring some joy. This is an adorable doggo. Please accept this party sub platter as my formal apology for unleashing Jin Karik upon the masses.
Well, I guess I'll take it.
I don't know. Platonically ideal sandwiches seem like small recompense.
I can't eat JPEGs, Podlord.
I can.
Oh, fuck.
Jesus.
VTubers have that power.
That's pretty powerful.
It all makes sense.
Nectar, the bravest Moogle, needs Clive to defeat the 5-day work week so Nectar can play more of his backlog.
Truth.
Yoko Taro lost his Emil mask in Los Angeles, so here's what he wore instead to Anime Expo 2023.
Yeah, that's really funny.
It's
Yeah.
horrifying.
I assume it's almost certain somebody fucking stole it, because who wouldn't?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wouldn't because I'm a normal human being, but obviously if you leave that mask unattended for 1 second, somebody's gonna take it.
Yeah, absolutely. to 24 years and Anime Expo tuning the stream out before the announcement, but we finally fucking won, Tsukihime! I love Tsukihime. That's fucking stellar.
Yeah. I can't wait to get pilled.
I can't wait to get billed. And dog. Thank you very much to our dog lords.
Look at him.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, dog lords.
Thank you, dog lords.
And if you'd like to become a dog lord, go to your local pound and pick up a pound puppy. Just do
Hell
it.
yeah!
They need it. They need love too. But you can also, if you want to become a pod lord, you can go to our Patreon at patreon.com/GB podcast. For as little as $5 a month, you get access to many benefits, such as early access to Chugging, Bleach, and Pokemon Go to the Movies, our 2 anime review podcasts. We're going to review some amount of Bleach every month and a Pokemon movie every month. You get early access to those. You also get extended content from other shows when indeed such things exist to be given to you. And you also get a patron exclusive show and other content, including a fucking movie. You get a movie called Isolation 119. It is a movie about a man who takes a trip to Thailand to solve the injuring of his brother, who was injured by a ghost, I guess?
Question mark?
It's really unclear if there's really a ghost or if this family is just genetically insane in the exact same way. You also get a bunch of commentary tracks, like one for Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog. You can enjoy the parts where we have to endure the part where he goes, laundry day, see you there every week. I sniff your hair, which is pretty fucking weird, right? Like, it's just weird Joss Whedon wrote that, but you can get a commentary track if you want that. And if you don't have any money, it always helps us immensely to tell your friends, rate us on Thursdays before Twitch removes that feature like they remove every feature. Rate us on your podcasting app of choice, or like the video on YouTube if you're listening that way. That's patreon.com/GB podcast. Thank you.
And that Dr. Horrible commentary track's one of my favorite commentary tracks we've made in a while.
Yeah, it's short but sweet.
I highly recommend that if you're willing. But we've got news. Here's some news. That Gimmick re-release is out. Did you see they accidentally charged it $6 more on PlayStation?
No, what?
Yeah, they're trying to fix it. Yo, we're doing a Forspoken and Taught As We Trust discussion. What the fuck?
What?
That's crazy. Okay, now we're back at the color blue. Can we get back to? Hey, there we go. But yeah, Gimmick. That's out on PS4 and Nintendo Switch. And I know you're thinking, audience, Gimmick. What the hell's Gimmick? That really catchy song you just heard. Turns out it's from one of the best 2D platformers on the NES. That hates children and doesn't want anyone to see the true ending. So much so that the trailer for this re-release ends with, "Can you see the true ending?" Which is like one of those bullshit rhetorical answers. Did you find everything you were looking for? Like you're going to be like, "No, can you help me find a thing?" And the cashier's going to be like, "Okay, shut it all down."
Yeah, right.
Let's go. But yeah, anyways, that's out. I plan on checking that out at some point. On to the news, though. Let's start with aggro. I like aggro's news.
So as you may have heard from a completely legitimate podcast earlier in the afternoon, you can now turn off motion blur on Final Fantasy 16.
Oh, shit.
You can also turn it down a lot if you only want it down some, because it defaults to level 5, and you can take it down all the way to 0 if you want.
So it's tunable.
Yeah, they put in a
Yes,
slider.
tunable.
Huh.
They also put in like some alternate control schemes. So like you can't remap the buttons, but you can pick the one that has dodge on circle.
Yeah, it is weird that that's the best they can do.
That's the best they did.
Right? Yeah,
I mean, that's
This is the best. This was the most I could do. It's the most you could did.
Is dodging on R1 that big a problem? Do people hate that? I thought it was fine.
I'm seeing a number of people don't love it. I was fine, but yeah.
there are definitely things I'd like to be able to switch up more. Like I went with control scheme C because I don't like having triangle be the magic button because I have to hit it right after square every time.
I changed it over to L1. They use the control scheme that moves it to L1.
Huh.
But yeah, there's lots of different things. Like This could be optimized in a better way I can think of, but
Yeah, just put fucking square and triangle on L1 and R1. I'll pretend I'm playing amplitude because I'm just doing this nonstop. Oh,
does it play a song?
Yeah. I'm gonna play like fucking was it Rum DMC? They had that really good Run DMC remix on there. That was good. Yeah, we'll do that. That joke is shippable. Hey, Acro,
Yup.
what's the next news?
In the continuing saga of the successor console to the Switch, very, very slowly being ripped into reality from behind, like, the tulpa wall of Nintendo's denial of its existence. The Nintendo Developer Portal, their developer support website, recently updated with a tab on their console list that includes the NX2 with a little Joy-Con symbol.
What could it mean? I've heard from every Nintendo Switch fanboy that they will never make a Nintendo Switch 2. Because for some reason, they just don't want that to happen out of spite for a thing I don't understand in the least. Man, I know we've said it a lot. We've said it a lot over the last month. We've said it more over the last month than we've ever said it before. If you took all of human history and added it up to the beginning of the last month, and every time we said, man, once Nintendo gets remotely modern hardware, they're fucked. We certainly said it more in the last month than we've ever said it before. But man, once Nintendo gets remotely modern hardware, everyone else
they
is
don't
fucked.
they don't even have to update their games on a fidelity level. Just higher res, run better.
Yeah.
People will see fucking Super Mario Odyssey 2 at even just 1080p and 60 and be like, I never have to play a Sony game ever again. Like, that'll be the thing that directly causes in their brain. Sony is not fucking prepared. They've been they've had the fucking fighting Glass Joe for the past fucking 10 years. And then Nintendo's gonna fucking show up like Mr. Sandman. It's gonna be over.
They're like, we invented the Wii and went to train on a mountaintop for 15 years, and we're gonna come back down into the console wars.
It's going to be so fucking funny.
But like the thing is, so like we're getting a more powerful Switch. No. But
that's my favorite part, though.
It's Nintendo. So the closer we get, the more I start to wonder what incredibly insane baked-in hardware feature is going to take at least 10 months to stop looking like a terrible idea.
I don't think there's gonna be anything this time.
No joysticks, roller balls.
Like they've taken such a beating on every attempt they've had to be quirky since the Wii. Like, and now that backwards compatibility is such a big thing in the industry,
Oh, true.
that you could conceivably be sued for. I feel like nobody wants to fucking test that yet. No, like nobody wants to be the person to test and lose because that's apocalyptic. So I feel like they're just gonna be like, it's the Switch 2. Maybe it has some small feature related to the touchscreen or the things in the Joy-Cons. Otherwise, it's just the fucking same thing.
We have the back touch panel from the Vita.
No!
It's gonna work this time because we're Nintendo.
Anything else, please?
Sweet mother of God.
I love that I'm the only, like, I'm one of 2 or 3 humans on the planet who has positive feelings about that touchpad because I played Tearaway on the console it was supposed to be on, the Vita.
Look, in theory, in a vacuum, back touch, fine. In reality, back touch mean nothing ever going to be able to run these games.
I
All
liked
10 of them.
in the Vita ports of the Atelier games, you could tap the back touchscreen and it would make the protagonist fucking fall down.
Oh yeah.
You just
That's
tap
brilliant.
and she's like, ugh, and falls onto her ass. No, her face, because it's like an anime girl pratfall.
Yeah. It's really good.
Beautiful.
Never mind, I'm coming around on the back touch.
This is good shit.
In other news, the developer of Gollum, Daedalic Entertainment, went never again. They will continue publishing games, but they have canceled the Lord of the Rings game they were working on and just went, nope. It turns out we weren't cooking anything.
It's one of the most graceful bow outs I've ever seen. Like, they're just standing in their driveway looking at it going, whoo, that was a mistake. Get the hose.
This is the weirdest version of that game that's announced as the important next-gen game way too early. Because most of the time, it's the studio is a crater in the ground. They're just Yamcha. This time, it's the studio is going to keep making money by publishing. They realize they can't make a game in-house.
It's weird they just like, yeah, we're just going to stop developing, because they developed normal scale games before this. Like, they could go back to making point and clicks like they had done up
but they're
to this
good.
point.
They're done. They hit the peak with Gollum.
Obvious.
Creatively,
It's
they're
weird.
exhausted.
Like, I really have to know what goes on in a company, because I feel like the moment this was announced, because it was announced while we were doing Big Thing to Mention, I'm pretty sure all of us went, who fucking wants a Gollum game? And then every time we saw it, it was like, this looks like it's on fire. And then it developed for 4 fucking years and they shipped it. Like, how does that happen at a studio?
It was so funny, though, because the second they announced it, I'm positive Bob and I were like, that's it. It's like a horseman of the apocalypse. We just went, that's a horseman. That it's like one of those things necessary with next gen, where it's just like, hey, new consoles are coming. They're going to be so strong. Here's the important game. And we're like,
Right.
nope.
You're just looking at it, but really you're looking past it and seeing layer.
Is there other examples of the, like, we announced our next gen game really early? We couldn't make one, and then they die?
So let me tell you about a game called Haze. I don't want to talk about Haze, actually.
Yeah, Edgar just brought up Layer. That's another pretty keen example.
Yeah, they're both that.
Did level 5 live through that?
No.
No?
No, it was Factor 5.
Oh, Factor 5.
Yeah, they died. They exploded.
So did Free Radical.
Yep.
The piss was too strong. I told them, don't drink heavily of the piss.
They
Don't do
drank
it.
too greedily and too deep.
In other news that is not piss related. Well, actually, I don't know what they get up to in Metaverse Horizon Worlds.
Oh, no.
They don't have legs.
Details came out from the Guardian that Horizon Worlds had an annual income of $470.
It's just as bad as everyone assumed.
No, that's not even annual. That's globally. Revenue globally, $470.
No shit. Like, all this pulls away the fucking mask of all this shit. Like, the point is not to make money. The point is for me to sell the rich people that this thing is the future, then escape before they realize I trapped them inside a burning building.
So here's the thing. For Defunct Land or whatever, not Defunct Land, you got me saying it now.
I'm sorry.
Decentraland, I absolutely believe that. For Facebook, I genuinely believe that Mark Zuckerberg, being the giant fucking nerd who's out of touch with normal humans that he is, tried VR and was like, oh shit, I want to live in the Matrix. What if we made the Matrix and everyone could live in these VR worlds? And then we could all have currency and jobs and exchange money. Oh my God. And we could be the first people there. And at no point did he think, none of that's feasible. You fucking dipshit.
Yeah, when he renames his whole company, I feel like he is committed.
To the bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, too much for it to be anything other than actual real commitment.
Right. Like, and there was genuine commitment there. They got a number of studios. They spent a lot of money on R&D. And, you know, they made some innovations in that space that are nice and appreciated by other people in it. I wish Sony would pick up on the fucking use normal batteries in the controllers instead of these rechargeable things. It's becoming such a hassle. It is really hard when you play VR games 9 hours a day, every day, and develop Dan syndrome. It wasn't until it came out of my mouth that I realized how close it was to Down syndrome. And like, now it's too real. Now it's too real. No. I think, yeah, you can't pivot away naming your fucking company Meta and then just go, psych. Like, your valuation's not gonna... This doesn't work.
Don't worry, Threads will all turn it around. We've gotten words that you cannot use Threads in the European Union because it steals all your fucking data.
Yeah,
Yep.
about the fact, I'm not sure, I didn't bring this up with any of you before this. Did you see the photo he posted on Threads?
The photo Mark Zuckerberg himself posted on Threads.
Was it him holding a katana?
He censored his children's faces.
Yep.
He put emojis over his children's faces because he didn't want it uploaded to his own service.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people are already being like, I do sex work under an assumed name. Meta found my real name and just put it on all my shit, and you cannot take it down or do anything about it at all.
Yeah, I've been flabbergasted by the amount of people I follow on Twitter who are like, "Yeah, I've been set up with Threads," and I'm like, "Why?"
Right.
I
jumped into the volcano. What was your why?
Was there a plan?
The volcano we all agreed for at least 13 years now should not be jumped into.
No, that guy, he opened a second volcano.
Oh,
this is the good
still
one.
a volcano. Also, questions: how did he open a volcano?
He just put up a partition on part of the volcano.
Oh, God.
There are two now.
It's a hot spring, I swear.
Damn, that spring's really hot, yo.
I'm standing at the foot of the mountain like, I know it's a volcano up there, but he said it's a hot spring. And I don't think there's going to be a Kataro in there.
No.
But can I take the chance that there might be? Like, is it zero?
So anyway, for the people who are like, well, you guys are haters, it could be a good service. Let me do the quick rundown. Threads doesn't allow not safe for work stuff. Threads doesn't let you chronologically order posts to read through them. Threads doesn't have a way to only look at people you follow. What? They're literally just Facebooking it again.
Yeah,
it's
what?
only a matter of
Delete
time.
your Threads. It's attached at the hip to your Instagram thing. You can deactivate it and just use Instagram, but if you want it gone, you have to delete your Instagram account.
Yeah.
What?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
So it is literally just Facebook again.
That's horrible. Like, even more so than I thought.
We made a Facebook like very early on in GigaBoots and just
Right.
immediately figured out, oh, they're holding our fan base hostage.
Mhm.
I will never speak of our Facebook again. Because, yeah, they wanted like tons of money to be like, we'll show you a certain percentage of your followers this thing if you pay us. And I'm like, or I'll just not develop a fandom here. Like, what the fuck do you think I'm going to do? You're insane. Also, they did that video scam, if you recall, a while back.
Yeah, where they
tricked-
destroyed internet comedy for an entire generation.
Thanks, guys. Really glad you lied about the metrics. So, yeah, why the fuck are you people signing up for Threads? Literally anything else would get less, like, scorn and weird ire for me. Because it... Hive? Cute. Go right ahead. Co-host? Sure. Why not? Mastodon?
Yeah, co-host is actually pretty solid.
I'm sorry, I only have a high school degree. I can't set up a Mastodon.
What the heck was that thing that Jeff Gertzman tweeted?
Oh, you mean Space Hay or
Because
whatever?
it was like obviously MySpace. I'm like, sure.
The funniest part is the web designer behind that website was too young to use MySpace back in its heyday. So he
It
just
looks like trash for no reason.
No, he was like, I've seen pictures of it, and I've seen a lot of people talking about it, and I thought aesthetically that's a really cool thing, and I wish, people miss that. And I'm like, yeah, remember when you used to customize a page instead of a tiny bio that has character limits and shit?
Mm-hmm.
You used to have a page? That was weird. Saw the stupid fucking tweet, which was a video. The music playing is like edgy or stupid or whatever. And it's a person going through all these apps they have open on their phone that are all the Twitter clones. And they're like, nice tits, too bad they're woke. And it's the wrong there. And the last one they go to is fucking Truth Social, and it's Trump's page. Anyway, that's it for the funny tweet I saw of the week. Hey, Bob, you got news?
I do have news. Let me see. We had Anime Expo this week, so a few things came out of there.
Okay, nothing too weeby, right?
Of course not. Why would that be there?
Okay, let's just start from the top then. I'm sure that's safe.
We got a Jujutsu Kaisen video game.
That's cool.
It's called Cursed Clash, which made me think it was made by the Clash of the Ninja guys from Naruto. It is not.
Oh.
It is made by the people who did the My Hero 1 Justice games. Yeah, by King. It's a 2v2 action game, only multiplayer online. What? How do you make one of these arena fighters where you can't just have two people in a room fight each other? I don't get it.
Would you want to play a fighting game against your friend in a room?
I guess not.
I don't let friends in my room. That would be gay. If I let another man near me, something might occur to me, and I'm not ready to make that step.
They would be the ones doing it to me. They would make
exactly
me gay.
right. So we need some laws to keep my friends out of my room.
Well, good news. You're in Florida.
Yeah.
But it's coming to everything: PS4, PS5, Xbox Series, Switch, PC, all that.
Yeah, it is. It's Florida.
Sorry, Bob. You were talking about it mid-game.
You were talking about Jujutsu Kaisen for some fucking.
This is sad. I like Jujutsu Kaisen in the anime. It would be cool if we got a game made by like CyberConnect or something. I'm probably gonna try this somehow. Hopefully it'll go on sale or something. I'll be able to try it out eventually. Next thing, Grand Blue Relink. They showed up to say it's real still.
Whoa.
They announced Fairy's going to be playable. She is the girl with a whip that's in Grand Blue Versus. Apparently she's a ghost.
Okay.
All right.
That's cool.
And she summons like ghost monsters and stuff. Seems cool.
I don't think this is very special, though. We show up once a year to let people know this game is real. We call that game of the year.
Yes. They also said the game's nearly complete and they'll have more updates in August.
That shit's Q1 next year.
Probably.
Like, it's not going to make this year. It's going to do that thing everybody does where they're like, it's this year, and then it's like, it's actually next year.
Yeah, it's seeming really cool, though. Apparently, you can play each mission single player or with up to 4 people, and they each choose their own character. You can't change characters mid-round, but you can change them between missions. And it's kind of structured in a Monster Hunter-like way. But like having a home base and then going out and doing these missions and coming back. Looks really cool, man. Art's really great in this game. This game looks really cool. I'm excited. Hopefully, it's real. It comes out this year. But there's plenty of games this year. We don't need it to come out this year. It's fine.
At the same time, though,
it's been so long.
We'll have to put it up for nomination.
It can just keep sponsoring the category.
How is it doing 5 years in a row?
They also talked about Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising. They're adding a character called Nier. She's some sort of character that summons a weird creature that is death, I guess. And they compared her to Carl Clover from Blaze Blue, but said she doesn't play like that, but has the same sort of concept of like 2 characters controlling at once.
Doesn't play like Carl's dad?
They did not specify.
Damn it.
She looked pretty cool. That game's got the beta coming out like later this month, I guess, so people will try a lot of different stuff. On that, Tsukihime, a piece of blue glass moon, is actually coming to the West. It's coming out next year for PS4 and Switch.
Fucking wild.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while. That song was new when it originally came out.
Don't. There are connections that don't need to be made. Just leave that out in the universe to exist and not be known.
To be clear, this is the remake of the original Tsukihime. It's not the original game. It's a different story.
Yeah, they split it into 2, and it has this energy of Natsu going, yeah, I'm gonna fix this thing I wrote 30 years ago. We're gonna clean out all the parts where I maybe rethought some things with 25 years of emotional and personal maturity.
I don't know. That stuff you clean out kind of sounds like the sauce.
It's more like a grime, actually.
It has the consistency of a sauce, but you wouldn't want it in your mouth.
So I don't think I have enough Blue's Clues to guess the answer to this riddle.
Is it the Grimace Shake?
Sure.
So if you pre-order, I've heard you get the companion album, a piece of bluegrass moon.
I wish.
Don't look at me like that.
Oh, I absolutely will.
The first time I read it in the news document, I misread it, and I've been being tortured internally by that pun for like 6 hours.
Hey, Bob.
They announced Rashid, or they showed off Rashid for Street Fighter 6. He comes out July 24th, which is later this month. He looks pretty cool. Whoa, a Street Fighter 6 character looking cool? Who would have guessed?
Yeah, that's crazy.
I saw people being like, how could they do this to Lily? They literally released another character with wind power who just looks way cooler in every way within a month for launching the game.
Oh, no.
Let's see. Mortal Kombat 1 had a new trailer. They showed they're going to have Smoke and Rain as playable characters.
Dope.
2 separate characters. Can you imagine?
Could you imagine?
Rain? They're putting in Rain?
They can't stop themselves.
But they didn't put Rain in fucking 11 or 10, did they?
Yeah, that's how they fucked up.
No. Like, Rain was in a cutscene in 10, and then Kotal Khan, like, eviscerates him. Isn't that how that works?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he might have been in 9. I don't remember.
I think he was in 9, but
there was a lot of weird DLC characters in 9.
Okay,
like,
people are saying that he was in 11 as DLC.
Oh, okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Rain sucks. Fuck Rain.
He seems really different this time. Like he seems to be in some sort of mage-looking outfit.
They made him like Outworld nobility, I think. They made him like somebody in like Katara's group, I think.
That sounds right.
Hey, aggro. Rain is purple. That's why he's named Rain. Named that after Purple Rain.
He was originally like, look, we need more of these fucking Sub-Zero type guys because it's really easy to save space on a cart by just making a lot of them these guys with different colors. So Rain is our purple scorpion.
No, but it's like RAIN. Right.
Yeah.
That's like Purple Rain. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's.
Yeah.
But Smoke looks really cool.
I didn't play Mortal Kombat growing up. I wasn't allowed to. There was blood, and I live in a house.
I lived indoors.
I'm not going to go into that. Yeah, I'll tell you what it's like sometime.
Oh, no.
I don't know how many Mortal Kombat characters that are just different colored ninjas are real and how many the kids in my class made up.
Just assume they're all real. That's the
what I've been
easiest.
doing.
Right.
And it's been working.
Right.
And the longer it works, the more I think that I'm crazy.
Like, Ermac is real.
Ermac is real. You know why he's named that? Error macro. The game is breaking and just making new fucking ninjas. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, no, like at a certain infraction point, they reach infinity.
Like, this shit is literally like the fucking Sino shit, where it's Sonic, but his color palette swaps to green. It's like, yeah, that's a new character. That's a real character in Sonic 4.
They also showed off a bunch of the assist characters, the cameo characters. So they had Cyrax, Sector, Frost, and Kung Lao. Which it's a little disappointing.
Kung Lao stuck as a fucking assist. That's bullshit.
Some of the assists I think are both, but many.
They said some are both, but I hope he's one of the one that gets to be both.
Right,
like I fucking love Kung Lao.
It'd be crazy if him and Sonya and oh my god, Red Eye guy that shoots lasers, Kano are all assist characters so far.
I feel like there's no chance that if somebody was in Mortal Kombat 1, like the first one, the very first one, if they were in that they'll just be an assist. It feels almost certain they'll actually be a playable character.
Other thing, Naraka Blade Point coming to PS5 on July 13th. It's going to be free to play now, which makes sense. That game, I was shocked that it wasn't free to play because it was one of those season-based games that was trying to be like Fortnite. But now it is becoming that. Also, they're doing a collaboration with Maximilian Dude.
Yeah, they had like a whole fucking trailer.
Yeah, they made a trailer. You can play as him as a skin.
Yeah.
I guess his dog is a sticker.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I'm like, oh my god. And then I try to imagine a world where anyone did that for me, and I was like, nobody's excited. Hey, there's this new guy in Story of Seasons. It's some guy wearing a denim jacket. He doesn't live in a house. He just fills your house with his things. Yeah, I think my game's breaking. There are like 4 TVs in my living room.
Just, like you go to like interact with one, and Dan's head pops up out of a trash can. Don't touch my OLED.
That other OLED's your OLED.
That's your OLED. This is my OLED.
Why can't you tell the difference? This is obviously the newer model.
Just Cause Mobile has been canceled.
Neat.
That game apparently was out in early access, even. Like, it was playable. And they just were like, cancel it.
Wow.
Which, yeah, I don't know what else to expect. Just Cause Mobile, what were you thinking?
What's cool? My phone can totally do all these physics.
Yeah, Ken. Good job, sweetie. And a pretty believable rumor going around that's got several people at Kotaku like verifying it.
Yeah.
The Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag is being remade by Ubisoft Singapore. You know, the guys working on Black
This is what you do when your company is fucking doomed. This is a project you greenlight when you're fucked.
Yeah, that's the Skull and Bones guys.
Yeah, like.
So I have to be. I'm going to say what I think, and Bob and Dan and Aggro can either check me or say they agree. They're greenlighting this because Hex and Red must be fucked. Those must be fucked beyond belief. They're doing that thing that has become popular. It's like, we have to reset the franchise to the last time anybody gave shit, which was Black Flag. We have to reset it so we can hopefully go forward in another direction. This big super game that we put an insane AI NFT guy in charge of somehow isn't working out. Fucking shocker.
I think they're just throwing as much pasta at the wall as they can all at once, and whatever stays up, they're like, release it. Everything that fell to the ground is not cooked enough.
Like, this isn't going to come out, so it's almost pointless to talk about it.
I feel like it might be them trying to salvage
Skull and Bones.
The bones of it. They'll have to launch that game, but they've worked so much on making boats that are actually any good. They need to make a real video game to release
that'll sell.
I think they're like, I don't think Chris is wrong about them looking at Hex and Red and like, oh wow, when we planned these games, we thought our company was going to exist in 10 years.
Right? Yeah.
But I think
it's both angles.
They're strip mining Skull and Bones for really usable meat.
Yeah.
Because when was the last time people really gave a shit about Assassin's Creed? Like, yeah, those other ones sold a lot, but I feel like I stopped seeing people talk about Assassin's Creed at all after Assassin's Creed 4. Like, nobody gave a shit about Unity other than it was ugly and ship devastated. Syndicate was apparently much better, but again, nobody cared.
Mm-hmm.
And then they switched over to being Diet Witcher. And like, my understanding is that even selling 20 million copies, even with as much as Valhalla sold, which they're never going to get again because it was new consoles launched, it got that buff. Like, that game had so many people on it for so long, it still didn't make that much money in the grand scheme of things.
Mm-hmm.
So it really feels like they're doing that dance of go back to the last time people cared. We can do Black Flag 2 after that for real, not fuck it up and make Skull and Bones. We can go forward from there. Hex and Red seem like they're not fucking working out.
Yeah, I was actually just talking to someone, I think it was before this rumor leaked, about how like Assassin's Creed 4 was a really cool moment for the franchise, and it felt like there was a lot of positivity there, and in the moment, it felt like that was the direction going forward.
It did. It felt like, of course, this is what you would do. This is really cool. And then when Skull and Bones was announced, I was like, oh, well, they're going to spin it off and basically make a Black Flag 2 with this. But then we can't hear more about how that's a multiplayer game. It doesn't have any of the ship combat you actually want, like where you board and actually combat guys.
Yeah. It's like if the Baja Men had a second single and it was a Modest Mouse song. Everyone went, what? We wanted more, yippee-ki-yay with the fucking... You know, dogs. You
Yeah.
remember that? What is this shit? It just genuinely feels like that was the last positive high of this franchise. So
Absolutely.
I would-
It also had that buff of being like launch PS4 and stuff. God, it's been that long since the series
Yes.
was really good.
It has been a really long time since they had a hyper positive normal Assassin's Creed out, and people were like, "Yay!" Has it been 10 years? I don't know. Let's go to the Chris news. Chris?
Okay, this is a fucking weird story. Tokyo Broadcasting System Television has opened Tokyo Broadcasting System Games. That's all we
Huh.
know.
All right.
Weird. Weird.
Can't wait for NHK Interactive Software.
I'll do the second thing last.
Sure.
Peter Molyneux is teasing that he might be working on a new game. It's a lie, of course, like everything that comes out of that man's mouth.
Mhm.
What are you talking about?
All
He's going
he-
to release
all he
another
can do
mobile
is
game no
lie.
one on Earth will play.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's what did the fucking thing where the guy got to the center of his fucking cube and got to have some input on the next game? Did that game even ever come out?
Yes. And
I feel it did.
It did, and the whole thing's really sad. The whole thing's really sad.
Yeah, didn't the guy who got tapped on that the most got to be a landowner or something in the other game?
He
Like,
got to be God and make decisions, and I would need you to imagine the most sad, legally sort of did that Kickstarter nightmare fucking DashCon version of that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Google, for hearing that I said Peter Molyneux and Cube and stealing my fucking data and instantly taking me to what that was when I started typing in Peter Molyneux. Thank you.
I love computers.
I like how every one of these companies just fucking lies. It's like, no, we don't do that. And I'm like, then why do I say a thing and go to type a thing and it instantly auto completes to what I was saying?
Look,
You
obviously,
fucking liar.
no,
You
that's
fucking frauds.
that's never happened. None of these companies do that. My phone just feels like showing me a random movie from the 90s that Bob was talking about during a stream every single time after a stream, even though that movie has never been relevant to my interests.
The creator of Soccer Wars is working on a new game called Tokyo Wars. It's an NFT metaverse thing. Japan's gonna stay on this for a little bit because their government foolishly passed a "we give you money if you're trying to do this because it's the future and we want to be ahead of the curve" shit. So until they get their shit together and pull that, there's gonna always be these scam companies that pop up to try and take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But on a better note, Sega's chief operational officer said, "Well, we're not going to say we won't make any Web 3.0 shit, but if we do, it won't use any of our IPs.
Blessed. Blessed be.
So you don't have to worry about there being the Yakuza NFT game or the fucking Sonic Metaverse experience."
Yeah, I think that weren't they punched like crazy for announcing a Sonic thing and then they immediately announced it?
I don't remember. There's been so many of those. We're doing an NFT thing. Looks at social media. No, we're not.
Like, that's just apart from being like morally good, that's a great first pass filter for like, we have an idea for a blockchain game. Okay, you're not allowed to cannibalize any of our shit we already have. Pitch me a decent idea. Oh no, sir, we don't do that. That's not the part of game production that we do.
Why would we have an idea?
No, we're really more of run.
So, remember how we've said something to the effects multiple times, possibly more than anyone in human history has ever said it over the past month? Some variant of, if Microsoft lets themselves get at a price disadvantage, it's fucking over.
Yeah.
Well, according to Microsoft, that's what they're going to do. Because according to Microsoft, this is one of the FTC things. According to Microsoft, Sony is shipping a PS4, a PS5 Slim this year that will be $400 and shipping a PS5 Pro next year. Reminder that not even like a month ago, they announced they're raising the price of the Series X in some regions. They're raising the price of the Series S because it's only going to have that more expensive SKU with the bigger storage now. And they raised the price of Game Pass. They don't want to live. They don't deserve to live. And any kind of argument like we're helping competition by still existing is no longer fucking valid. They obviously don't want to actually compete. Die.
I just want to know if when they said this in court, if they had like a Vegeta energy and they were like doing a thumb. I just want to know how the fuck you deliver the news. We're going to get obliterated.
Like at a certain point, like, you know how if you're a bad enough parent, the state comes and takes your child away? Like, there's got to be a point at which you are so terrible at managing a company that, like, someone just goes, you're not allowed to run Microsoft anymore.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's like, how do you... Is it in your head? Does Sony actually competing with you mean that you can buy Activision now? Right? Like what's happening?
By Microsoft's own numbers, I think they're getting outsold already at a ratio of like 2.5 to 1. If the diskless version is $50 cheaper and the disc version is $150 cheaper, what the fuck? Why the fuck would anybody buy an Xbox fucking ever?
Yeah, if we are going to end up in a world where the Series S is only, because the 1 terabyte version or whatever, isn't that $380?
It's $350. It's $350. It's only $350. It's $50 more. It's $350.
It's
but
it's $50 real quick. It's $50 less than a PS5 Slim allegedly is going to be, which obviously won't be the PS5 diskless that already exists for only $50 more than the Series S.
Yeah. Like, maybe it won't be a full $100 cut on the diskless version and just be price parity. But either way, like, most of your fucking sales are on the Series S. Did you not figure that out? Like, what are you gonna do when that's no longer the cheap thing?
Dude, I have no idea. I've never seen... The interesting thing about choke point capitalism is the part where people stop learning how to compete. They unlearn competing. So that's what you're seeing unfold live here as they just try to litigate and acquire in order to overcome the fact they don't know how to make a compelling product. And make a product more compelling via price point and other things. Because I saw a lot of people who are like, oh, they basically do everything perfect. The two of them are basically the same console. I'm like, yeah, isn't it weird how they both arrived at all the same decisions and decided that was good enough and no one tried any harder? Isn't that weird? That's pretty fucking weird.
It's okay, though. Xbox offers Game Pass, which is the best value in gaming.
Now that it's $18 a month.
Yeah.
What about PlayStation Plus Plus?
Doesn't exist. It doesn't give you day one games.
It doesn't Sony doesn't obliterate all the potential profitability by putting all their games on at day one, so it doesn't count. Please ignore the numbers that Microsoft gave out that is like, oh yeah, more people subscribe to that than it Game Pass.
Yeah, there's all sorts of weird double standards in the games journalism industry, like, you know, which I brought up last fucking week with the whole, like, why does the Series S exist, but the diskless PS5 just doesn't for some reason? Every time I ever hear anybody talk about it, they're like, the Series S is $200 cheaper than a PS5. And I'm like, no, it is $100 cheaper than a PS5.
Soon to be 50, soon potentially to be the same or more.
And this is fucking nutty. So it's really weird that we keep doing that. Somebody actually, you know, I haven't brought this up with anyone. Somebody actually got onto me in the comment section like a ton of episodes before. It didn't, like, I'm not like, oh, fuck them. But no, like, they were like, you drastically undersell PlayStation Plus Plus. And I'm like, I mean, they're right, because I have PlayStation Plus Plus Plus, which sucks. It's fucking terrible. The simulation sucks ass. The selection is fucking awful. But PlayStation Plus Plus, I haven't even viewed that. I didn't look at that. I didn't do a proper value judgment of what games are on it and if it's worth the money, because I got the super tier because I just want to fucking play PS1 and PSP games.
You know what I can tell you about the mid tier?
Yeah.
I own a PS5. I get an email and a notification from the Sony app every time the games roll around. I have no idea what's on the mid-range or which one it is or what it's called because some idiot designed that service.
Yeah. No, it's true.
What is it? I'm PS Plus Premium and PS Plus Extra and then PS Plus Premium. It's Applebee's Double Plus Max.
Like, if those were abilities in a JRPG, I would spend an entire segment shit talking that design.
Yes, absolutely.
That is unclear and unusable.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Yeah, there's some like again, it sucks that Microsoft is so bad because Sony clearly doesn't have their fucking head on straight lately. The PS5's design, we've gone on and on about how it fucking sucks as like a physical design for a console. Their marketing feels like it's been really bad lately.
On that note, it's been bugging me how much the Craven part of the trailer for Spider-Man 2, you know, we got that trailer for Spider-Man 2 a while ago, and we got 2 trailers in one, but they rolled them seamlessly and pretended that was one trailer. They show the Craven part that's like 2 minutes, and then they show the gameplay thing that isn't even that connected to that. That is, like, the whole Craven thing is clearly, like, you're supposed to think that guy's Craven, and then they show the Craven design, and this is supposed to be a moment for you, the viewer. And it's like, but it was all released all at one time. Like Insomniac clearly set that up as its own thing, and they just said, fucking show it all. Like, because Sony's marketing is so fucking weird right now. Like, the whole Craven design and all that, it could have been its own marketing point that came out last year or any time before May, 4 months before the game comes out.
5, it comes out in October, so 5.
It's still insane. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with Sony. They're going insane from success.
There's the 45 service games that have to be approved by Bungie or else they get canceled.
Yeah, there's
They're
allegedly having a giant pile of games they just haven't talked about because they want to do a bad show.
Yeah, and also they won't talk about the release date on games that are definitely shipping this year that they acknowledged, like Helldivers and allegedly some of those other things that are service games.
Yeah, some of those service games that we saw a CG trailer for are supposed to be soon, and it's like you should have shown it.
People were like, Fair Games might be this year,
right?
Yeah, that's so insane.
You better fucking hope it's not, because you want to space that out away from Payday 3 at least a little bit, Sony. But
nope, into the wheat thresher.
Yeah, there's that, and then there's the PS Plus Extra and PS Plus Premium shit where it's like, I don't know what's on what. You don't make it clear.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'm on some level, I'm happy. I really fucking hate Microsoft's marketing lately where everything is fucking Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they want to suck you into the economy where they charge you rent forever.
Right.
And where they seem hesitant to talk about games unless they're day one Game Pass. But I don't know, Sony, if you're selling something, you should talk about it occasionally.
Yeah, probably.
It also shouldn't have a terrible fucking name.
Oh, definitely. They really fucked that up.
In fact, why is there shouldn't be 2 tiers. There should be 1 tier. It should be PlayStation Plus Extra, and that should be it. And it should have the retro shit.
Yeah, I mean, the retro shit's so terrible.
Right, it's not even that much of it.
No.
Like, if it even was like, oh, it's a bunch.
The only thing it has a bunch of is Siphon Filter.
Yeah.
Essential PlayStation IP Siphon Filter.
I need these service games to come out and start bombing so Jim Ryan goes away. Because that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I really hope so, because that'll be great.
Yeah.
How the fuck is Jim Ryan? It feels like we've had Jim Ryan around more than any CEO ever since the PS3 launched.
Yeah. He's one of those dudes who's always been there in a nuisance whenever he comes up. But now he's
the
guy.
nuisance. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, that's it for...
Just make Mark Cerny the CEO.
Oh, God, that guy doesn't want to be a CEO. He wants to be out there optimizing nanoseconds on boot up. But that's it.
Have him write a CEO.
Oh, yeah, he could probably code a CEO. Now, the great thing about Jim 2...
he likes your PlayStation 1 games.
Jim 2 is able to see what games sell well and understand that a new franchise can grow into a game that sells well. And so Jim 2 greenlights more than one game or one genre at a time.
As the new CEO of Sony, Jim 2 likes Horizon, but he's not a completely insane freak about it.
Jim 2 would never jack off over how broad a scope his singular IP has as it creeps into every genre and hardware. If there was a portable right now, Jim would have greenlit a Horizon game for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fuck him. Jesus Christ. Anyways, that's it for news. That's it for games. They're done forever. Thank God. There were just too many.
Yeah.
Finally gonna get to that backlog.
Catch up on the backlog. Maybe I'll play Moon sometime in the next 20 years.
Maybe this time. This is the correct 2 decades. You've got to be fucking kidding me. There's no way this is happening live.
What's
right
happening?
As we're trying to end it. Yuji Naka has been sentenced to 2 years and 6 months in prison, suspended for 4 years, and a fine of 2 million yen and 170 million yen.
Cool.
Well
God,
then.
that's so much fucking money.
And there
That's
we
it for
go.
him.
I'm sure he can just kickstart Balan too. It'll be fine.
Now find a way to get Inafune.
We will find him.
But that's it for this episode of Big Thing Dimension. Turns out Bob and I were right. He was guilty.
Yeah, I guess so.
We played those games and we knew. Bob and I tomorrow, we are doing the ultimate Gimmick stream. That's right. We're playing Everybody 1-2 Switch. The game everyone wanted to see us play. Aren't you excited?
I'm so happy to be horsing around.
I don't feel bad about anything I said today.
All right.
Fuck you, Bob.
Oh, Bob. You're a real show pony. They announced that was his name. And I'm like,
Oh, God.
how could you do this to me?
All I can think about is how testers kept calling the game horse shit.
Yes. Oh, it's clearly fitting. Look at it. Hey, Agro, what are you doing over there with me?
I'm gonna play more Final Fantasy 16 and
that's
try to
great.
figure out why everybody loves or hates Jill.
This is great. Hey, Chris, what are you doing in the next week?
I'm gonna stream Blaster Master 03, and then I'll probably take a break from all these fucking retro style 2D games to play something else for a while on stream, because you can only eat so many eggs.
That's true.
Yeah.
Just cool hand Luke in it.
All my bones will turn into salt if I don't play some game that has 3D graphics at some point.
Might I recommend Sonic Adventure 1?
I did that already.
I tried.
I also did Sonic Adventure 2. I also did Sonic Unleashed. I also did Sonic Lost World. I also did Sonic Forces.
Have you considered Sonic Heroes?
If they ever release that on a modern platform, I will almost certainly do it.
He's never
I
gonna
would
play
even
it. Can you fucking
I would
believe?
even consider it if Microsoft hadn't just given trying's hard, so we won't. Backwards compatibility's over.
You want to talk about being disappointed in them? That's the number one thing I'm disappointed in Microsoft
They made
for.
their entire fucking focus Game Pass. Do you know how fucking easy it would be to go to these companies and be like, let us give you some money, help you get this onto our platform, and we'll put it on Game Pass. You know, the way Netflix became the biggest fucking thing in the world by having all the old shit.
Yes. Literally that.
Yup.
Oh, well.
Nobody wants to play old video games, though.
No.
Nobody.
Nobody on Twitch plays things under the retro category.
Nope. It doesn't
Did you
exist.
see how I forget the site that did it, but they interviewed a bunch of current and ex-Rare people, and they're like, yeah, they ain't ever touching Banjo-Kazooie fucking again. Like, that ain't happening. They apparently are under the idea there's no audience for it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
Incredible.
Like, you're in a game with like 40 million owners. 40 million people boot up Smash Ultimate and see "Gah" in the fucking character select screen every day, probably.
Like, announced for Smash videos is a whole genre, and the Banjo ones are different because people are crying and falling out in the aisles like it's Pentecostal church.
Yeah. What they do have an audience for, Everwild.
That game's dead.
It's a real video game.
They didn't even fucking touch on it. That shit is
No.
gone.
More Sea of Thieves expansions. These all make sense.
Mighty number 9 gets kickstarted. We get Mega Man 11. Bloodstain gets kickstarted. They boot up the Castlevania engine for making games again. Ukulele gets kickstarted.
They have 2 successful games.
Wild Arms gets kickstarted. Sony and Microsoft are like, depressingly, Sony is much closer to Microsoft's mindset than we would like to fucking admit at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like things aren't going good over there. They really need Nintendo to show up to the party with something as powerful as the PS4 Pro and threaten their existence.
Yeah, yeah. They need a fucking baseball bat shakeup.
Anyway, that's how we're ending it this week. Bye.
Thank you very much for listening to this episode of Big Think Dimension. Big Think Dimension is only possible because of you. Yes, you specifically, the person listening to this. That's right, I'm talking to you. It's me, your good friend Dan Video Games. We have a deep and fun connection. If you go over to patreon.com/GBpodcast, you can commune with me via commentary tracks of various movies. Just sign up at $200 a month and beat BN12 to the top. Bye.